Hola. Hey, how are you? Getting ready to rock and roll here. In the studio. We are live on the stream right now, and we're waiting for it to build while I monitor Mike back at the radio station as we get ready to go. I'm gonna roll a music bed now, so bear with me. Just bear right with me, dear. We'll get it going here. Hold on. Well. Hey, how are you? Thank you, Mike. All hail to Mike Violet, the man, the myth, the legend. 9 in a row, huh, Mike? Unfreaking believable. I haven't been following the Red Sox at all. I can't even believe that. 9 in a row. That, to me, that's unheard of post Big Papi. I'm sorry. The Red Sox, when Big Papi was gone, the Red Sox lost me. Hope I'm not overmodulated here. I'm trying not to yell. No, at least not yet. I'll probably get there. Just give me time. Boy, oh boy, there's just so much stuff to talk about. I see Mike shaking his head. I'm wondering, is the audio okay? If it's not, give me the thumbs down. If it's good, give me the thumbs up. I need thumbs. I don't need fingers. I need thumbs as I monitor. Okay, we're good. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, okay, that finger's okay. That's fine. I like that finger. The other finger, I almost used that finger. That one. That's the one. We're pals. We've got a great team. I mean, the whole radio station's a great team. In fact, look at what I'm wearing today. It matches the pink hat too. I'm wearing the mix shirt. You know, you got the purple. You see what side I'm on here. The purple and the yellow and the black and the pink. I think it all goes good. This is my Sportsman's Alliance of Maine hat, which is a favorite of one of our listeners, Mikkel. I know for a fact. Good morning, Shannon. Welcome. Laurie, welcome to the show. Welcome to everybody. This is going to be my last day of the week here at the Enclave, although good morning, Cameron. I'm going to be doing this more as time goes on, though. I'm very comfortable in this studio. I've got more things at my disposal, and as you know, I get on the air faster. Because, when we switch, I mean, that's all good. But when we switch right at 9 o'clock, and then all the stuff I've prepared at home, I then have to reload into the system at the radio station. So, we wind up playing 2 or 3 songs while I'm doing that. And this way, we just, boom, we're from Mike to me, but we don't get the camaraderie. And I do, like everybody else, I do need to be around people from time to time. However, my lack of a vehicle over the last week and no ride to the rent-a-center, or not rent-a-center because they don't rent cars, but to Enterprise Rental. I guess my insurance company is going to cover it. My gosh, my glasses are dirty. So I've got to get there today. I've got a ride for the first time this week in to get my rental car. My truck, for those who don't know, my truck caught on fire last week sitting in the dooryard, and we don't know why. We don't know why, because we have not been able to get it into a garage who can look at it yet. I've tried a couple of places that can see it. I tried a third place that didn't call me back. I finally got a fourth place. I'm actually going over to Al Certified Auto Repair on State Street in Augusta. Al, I know Al Sutherland very well. I know he's got a great team, and I know he's going to take good care of me, and they do the electrical thing, and that's what I need, because we think it was an electrical fire that caused my truck to literally spontaneously combust. After it had been sitting in the dooryard for about an hour, my wife yells down to me, John, what? I say, and the truck's on fire. Your truck's on fire. And I did not drop right there of a myocardial infarction. So I guess my ticker is in pretty good shape, because if anything would have done it, hearing those words, your truck's on fire, that it took my breath away. Knowing how close it was to our camper and the house, especially. So anyway, here we are, and here we go. A lot of stuff to get to today. We've got Shelley Rudnicki. Representative Shelley Rudnicki is going to be coming up this morning at 10 o'clock, and we're going to do your Maine legislature update and find out all of the evil that is going on with the Democrats in the Maine legislature as they continue to hold the state hostage, not allowing any Republican representatives to have a voice. This is the new trend. Tyranny from the left is a new trend, and we have got so much to get to on that front today, including racism. That's a Democratic progressive thing. Including packing the Supreme Court. That's a Democratic progressive thing. Including adding at least one state. That's a Democratic progressive thing. Including open borders. That's a Democratic progressive thing. This is, when I say it's all hands on deck right now, I am not kidding, because they are going all out to take over the country before the next election. And they know 2022 is their deadline. So look for things to really ramp up as we go along, as if they haven't in the last couple of months. Finally, I guess April 28th, Joe is going to make his big speech to a joint session of Congress, I guess you'd normally call it a State of the Union speech. But since we're going to hell, I don't know what he's going to say. I have no clue what he'll say. I'm sure it'll be all discombobulated and nobody will understand what he's saying, but he'll have friendly people behind him. He'll have Kamala Harris, and he'll have Nancy Pelosi. Oh, Nancy Pelosi loves Joe. Oh, she giggles when she talks about Joe Biden. Have you seen her? It's sickening. It really makes me want to puke. Oh, Joe Biden. Did you see him? He was doing something sitting there in some sort of a gathering. I have no idea what it was. And a little girl dropped a toy on the floor. She dropped it on the floor, and Joe Biden got up. He bent over and picked it up and handed it back to her. Okay, good. That's nice. That's a nice thing for the president to do. But, it took all of 5 seconds. Well, Nancy Pelosi, the president picked up her toy. Good God, lady. Give it a rest. Get off the Botox. It is affecting your stinking brain. You moron, you mook, you tyrant, you communist, you toothless, bearded hag. I'm sorry. She doesn't have a beard. All right, let's find out what happened on this day in history, shall we? My name's John James, by the way. This is Freedom's Pep Rally, powered by the Gun Shop on Coney Circle in Augusta. And let's go to the Associated Press. It is the 15th. Today's tax day. It's tax day, I tell you.
April 15th, 1912. Just hours after hitting an iceberg, the Titanic sinks off the coast of Newfoundland. About 1,500 people on board the British luxury liner perish in the waters of the icy North Atlantic. 1865, President Abraham Lincoln dies in Washington, hours after John Wilkes Booth shoots and mortally wounds him at Ford's Theater. Vice President Andrew Johnson succeeds Lincoln in the White House. 1947.
Did you see Jackie Robinson hit that ball? It went zooming across the left field wall. Yeah, boy.
Jackie Robinson becomes the first African-American player in Major League Baseball. His debut with the Brooklyn Dodgers shatters baseball's decades-old racial barrier. 1986. The United States launches an air raid against Libya in response to the bombing of a disco in what's then West Berlin, Germany. Libya says 37 people, mostly civilians, are killed in the raid. 1998. Pol Pot, leader of Cambodia's Khmer Rouge, dies of natural causes along the border with Thailand at age 73. He evades prosecution for the deaths of 2 million Cambodians under his brutal regime during the 1970s. And 2001. In New York, punk rocker Joey Ramone, lead singer of the Ramones, dies of lymphoma at age 49. Today in history, April 15th, Sandy Kozel, The Associated Press.
All right, here we go. Shelley Rudnicki at 10 o'clock. Hello, Laurie. Hello, Shannon. I don't know. You know, you're right. Shannon says, I'm glad he did not smell the poor girl's hair. The little girl. Oh, I was thinking of Nancy Pelosi there in the gallery as he does his State of the Union. I see what you're saying. You know, I don't think he did. I think that would have been too obvious. I think he would have. I think he would have smelled the little girl's hair. Wasn't that a song? Smell the little girl's hair. Pop, 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 pop. Oh, no, that was Let the Little Girl Dance. Sorry about that. No, he probably would have, but it would have been too obvious. She was sitting and he was bent over. I'm surprised he bent down, was able to bend down that far and pick the toy up. And he gave her a little, yeah. And she retrieved the toy. I did notice, though, that she was very pensive when she was like, Mommy, is it okay to take it from the old man? And she did. I think he forced it into her hands. Did he? I did. Hi, Laurie. I love seeing the comments pop up here. You know what? I'll put them on the screen again today. I think I can. Hold on. I think I can do that just like this. Okay. Oh, well, maybe not. Where are they? I guess only new messages from here on will go up. The ones that have been up will not reappear. Okay, so we've got a bunch already. So when you post, they should show up on your screen if you're watching on the video. We're Legacy 1160, though, and we are brought to you by our video stream is brought to you by Moody's Collision Center with locations throughout Maine, right next to the Place Enterprise where I've got to go get my rent-a-car today. And just saying, I don't know why I said that, but little landmark identification, I guess, if you're looking for a rent-a-car or for body work. The audio stream is powered by our good friends at the Harry J. Smith Company, another great auto repair place. And thank you very much for that, Harry J. Smith Company. And our little legislative update with Shelley Rudnicki is going to be brought to you by Shelley's Used Cars and Caring Hands. And they are looking for employees at Caring Hands. So there you go. And those are some of the sponsors we have. And, of course, the Gun Shop on Coney Circle in Augusta, sponsoring Freedom's Pep Rally here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. And more criticism from leaders aimed at Biden. Hello, Joe. Not hearing much about Hunter anymore. What's going on, Laurie says. Well, you know, Hunter's out doing interviews now, promoting his book, Beautiful Things. He's been on a few songs. He was on with Jimmy Kimmel. Oh my word! Why has late night become like a cesspool of political news? instead of entertainment, skits, humor, music. It literally, and Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, they're all the same. Stephen Colbert, they're all the same. It's a cesspool. Really, it does. You talk about drain the swamp. I think we need to clean the cesspool and get all new hosts. You know, I want to go back to the days of Letterman and Leno and Carson and those guys. We've actually got a little bit of Jimmy Kimmel coming up. Of course, you know, he can't help himself when it comes to politics. Every joke has to be mean-spirited about politics, and he does it. This time it centers around Mike Lindell, who is quite an entrepreneur. We'll talk about what he's got going on. But more criticism for Biden now from Guatemala's president. They do not like Joe Biden. Now, listen to this story. This is very important. And it'll give you some insight as into the hypocrisy and lying, L-Y-I-N-G, lying, like lying Brian Williams, who is guilty of stolen valor, and he still has a job with NBC on their little bastard stepchild, MSNBC. And we've got some of Brian coming up too later if we have time. Guatemala's president joined Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. Listen to what they both are doing. They're both blaming Joe Biden for the border crisis. And this was during a sit-down on MSNBC. Now, here's what Alejandro Giammattei said on Tuesday. I believe that in the first few weeks of the Biden administration, messages were confusing. They were compassionate messages that were understood by people in our country, especially the coyotes, the people smugglers. That's what a coyote is, not the animal. People smugglers. To tell the family, coyotes were telling the families, we'll take the children. And the parents believed them. This is according to the president of Guatemala. And he went on, and children can go, and once children are there, they will call their parents. Not always the case, as we have found out. Migrants fleeing El Salvador and Honduras have had to travel through Guatemala and Mexico in order to reach the U.S. border. More than 20,000 unaccompanied migrant children are now in U.S. custody thanks to Joe's invitation to surge the border. Yet, if we say surge, if you and I say surge, AOC, the bright one, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, calls us white supremacists. If we say surge, that's a white supremacist statement. But that's exactly what Joe Biden said, surge the border. And it's his fault. It's his fault. It's Joe Biden's fault. And listen, this is the thing that really stands out to me, because this, I'm not just a radio moron here I don't mean to call myself a moron, but I guess I just did. I'm just a little tiny radio guy here in Maine, without a modicum of experience when it comes to governing and solving crises of mass proportion or anything like that. But this was predictable, and I predicted it. President Alejandro Giammattei said that he has seen coyotes carrying out horrible acts like tossing toddlers over high walls. Who'd have thunk that Joe Biden's open invitation to bring him on, just like Ethan Strimling in Portland did, bring him in, let him come in, surge the border. Who could have predicted that this would happen? Well, a 2-year-old, frankly. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. here's the thing. This is not humane behavior. This is the president of Honduras talking, or Guatemala, rather. Alejandro Giammattei. This is not humane behavior, he said. And he slammed Joe Biden's claims of having a more humane approach to immigration. Let me tell you something right now. If you're on the left, you need to hear this. You need to understand it. I'm not making it up. I'm only being honest. I'm telling the truth. Try listening to reason. Try researching this. And when I say Democrats, I'm talking about Democrats in Congress and far left progressives who don't care about objectivity, who only care about excoriating opponents and beating opponents. But this is for the moderates out there and everybody on the right who agrees. The Democrats like Biden, Harris, Pelosi, Schumer, AOC, Ilhan, and the rest, they can weep and they can talk about compassion all they want. Till the proverbial cows come home. But you know what? And this is a fact. This is a fact. It's both, this whole thing is both irrefutable and very telling, these facts that foreign leaders are talking about. The left does not care. I don't care how many crocodile tears Nancy Pelosi cries. I think it's just the Botox anyway. They don't care about children. They don't. Don't believe her when you see her say, oh, the children. Know that she inside that Botox-laden brain, she is laughing like Kamala Harris. She is laughing. Oh, the children.
I just don't.
Yeah. They don't care about the children. They care about votes. They care about votes. There you go. That's it. That's it. And it's not complicated. It really isn't. They're overcomplicating it because you can't understand it because you're too dumb. You're not intelligent and intellectual like they are. You aren't as smart as they are, but you are. You are if you only think about it. And if you only pay attention to how disingenuous they seem. As I've told you many times, and I mean this, I have an ability to look at people and just instinctively, I don't know why. Not all people, but especially in politics, I can tell if they are being truthful and honest or disingenuous. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer sometimes, he is very passionate. It's hard to read him, but he's the same as Nancy. He doesn't weep as much. He doesn't say, oh, the children as much. He doesn't giggle as much when he talks about Biden, but he's just as bad. They all lie about what their motives are. It's not to help the children. It's not to help the oppressed. It's not to help the people fleeing climate change. That's a good one. They're fleeing climate change. That's a thing now. CBS, oh, well, that makes sense. CBS News, right? There is no news outlet out there telling you things. If you're watching any of these people, you are watching lies. You are watching propaganda. You are watching DNC operatives. Understand that, and you will be a long way ahead of all the people on the left who just will not accept anything but the lies they want to hear. And I'm not lying about that. I would not lie to you. I tell the truth. That's what I peddle here on Legacy 1160. Okay, we've got what time we got? We got about 9:25. We got a little ways to go before we have to take our first break. Let me see what we've got for comments coming in here so I can read them to you. This is listener input. There is a method to his madness. He is harvesting voters at the expense of children. Amen. At the expense of children is right. And you know what, Laurie? You know what else? These children are going to grow up and they are going to be the voters of the next generation. The modus operandi here is to do whatever it takes, regardless. Let's start where I always start. It's all a means to an end. These are all means. These are all means, meaning these are all things we have to do to get to our ultimate goal, and that is, anybody? One party rule. In other words, communism. Bingo! This is what they want. Too many on the left, the left doesn't want it either. Trust me, the leftists don't want it either. But they're too afraid to say, well, you're right. We've been wrong about this. This is what they're doing. Read Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, and you will see this is all a means. These are all different means to an end. The older illegal aliens who they don't want to have IDs, why do you think that is? Why do you think they do not want voter IDs? Why? We need an ID to drive. We need an ID to buy alcohol, to buy cigarettes. We need an ID for all kinds to get on a plane, regardless of whether we're traveling, internationally or intrastate. Right? We need IDs. But voter ID, no, that's racist. This is all a means to an end. They are making us feel like the guilty party. We are not. We, conservatives, moderates, leftists who are against all they're doing, and there are leftists who are completely against. There are Democrats who are completely against what these idiots are doing. But these idiots have the most power and the most control, and they are misleading their people, their sheep, to slaughter. A means to an end. The means is immigration, illegal immigration. The older illegal aliens can vote almost right away. No ID needed. They did in the last election. No question about that. And the younger ones, well, they're the next generation of voters. That is voter suppression. They are taking away votes. When more illegal aliens come in and they vote in our elections, they are canceling votes of American citizens, minority American citizens. That is racist. But they completely turn the narrative around and put the blame on us. Remember what I say. Everything they say is a projection. Everything they say about us is a projection of who they are. Think about that. That's the truth. That is the simple truth in the whole thing. Now, because we are talking about racism now, and the misplacement of the term racist, it is completely misplaced. Most Americans do not have a racist bone in their bodies. Black, white, Asian, they just don't. You know who has the racist bones in their body? The academia, the professors, the teachers, the Congress, the Democratic leftist Congress people, the Democrat progressives out there in our communities who believe everything their shepherds say to them and don't question it at all. Everything the mainstream media says, the mainstream media completely and totally racist. All of them, with the exception of a few. All racist. And they say we're racist. They're lying. It's a reflection of who they are. Laura Ingraham did a great angle last night. You've got to hear this. We have some great voices in this country, and because I'm certainly not without fault anywhere. So I want to back up what I say with what others are saying. And so often we're right on the same page. Laura Ingraham said it perfectly last night. I want you to listen to this, and I want you to take it to heart, because everything she says in this is true, and she's being honest about it, and she is not lying. Unlike the Nancy Pelosi's and the AOC's and the rest of the angry, vitriolic people out there who will tell you that white people are all racist. And Raphael Warnock of Georgia will say, America must apologize for its worship of whiteness. Shut up. We are not racist, and we reject the accusation out of hand. Here is Laura Ingraham, and this is amazing.
Now, I'm sure you've noticed when media outlets devote hours and hours of nonstop coverage to certain stories, but drop others that are equally, if not more important, to the larger public. This happens all the time. So when a police officer mistakenly shoots a black man who resisted arrest during a traffic stop, it's treated as part of a nationwide epidemic. But an actual national trend of brutal acts of violence being committed against minorities in urban America rarely rises above local broadcasts. So if we should know Daunte Wright's name, should we not know the name of 75-year-old immigrant Nanda Batare, who was brutally murdered in Chicago? He was stabbed numerous times 3 weeks ago, allegedly by this man, Cash Johnson. Now, why haven't we heard the names also of D'Angelo Tafoya, just 22 years of age, or David Lara? They were senselessly gunned down on April 1st for the crime of standing at a bus stop. They were charged in the murder of Elias Chavez and Talak Chaveza. Both of them were charged. Now, these killings are just part of a continuum of violence that doesn't fit the left's narrative that, of course, all violence in America is rooted in racism. That's what they want you to think. So if you just come out of a year-long coma to watch the news today, you'd think that American law enforcement officers wake up every single morning with the goal of harassing and abusing as many minorities as possible. You wouldn't know much at all about how much officers have been targeted and even ambushed since the death of George Floyd. Now, I bet you don't know the name of Martinus Mitchum, a corporal with the Tulane Police Department who was shot and killed, allegedly by this man, John Shallerhorn, while providing security for a high school basketball game. Now, Mitchum was trying to stop a fight. It cost him his life. Within hours of Daunte Wright's death, we learned the name of the officer who mistakenly shot him, Kim Potter. We also know that she's a 26-year vet of the Brooklyn Center Police Force and a former union president. Yet somehow, we still don't know the identity of the officer who intentionally shot Ashley Babbitt at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. She was unarmed. She was a military vet. As in other killings at the hands of law enforcement that get wall-to-wall coverage, there was dramatic video. But to America's journalists hell-bent on advancing one narrative, her life didn't matter. Not to the media, and apparently not to the Biden DOJ. They just announced today that no charges would be filed against the unnamed officer who shot and killed Babbitt. Meanwhile, Kim Potter is being charged with second-degree manslaughter for accidentally shooting Daunte Wright as a tragic mistake. Not only is she facing jail time, Potter was also forced to resign from the police force. Then, after 2 nights of destructive riots, the Brooklyn Center police chief also resigned. Now, on top of that, the city manager was fired for factually stating that Kim Potter has actual due process rights. We can believe that one. Now, despite all this, the usual suspects are using this opportunity to foment more anger, more animosity, and yes, violence. Chief among them is attorney Ben Crump, who said among Potter's second-degree manslaughter charge about her manslaughter charge, this was no accident. This was intentional, deliberate, and unlawful use of force. Driving while black continues to result in a death sentence, he said. Now, of course, the sharpest media legal minds were on hand to do their part to encourage unrest, like CNN's Chris Cuomo, who tweeted, second degree, probably lowest homicide charge available. Is this accountability? Well, besides the fact that he doesn't know the law, accountability? How about holding the media accountable for fueling the riots, fueling the unrest by viciously smearing law enforcement as just systemically racist?
Policing in this country is rooted deeply in racist presuppositions about the criminality of black and brown folk.
The policing methodology that we have in the country right now is both dumb and dangerous and discriminatory.
Wow.
We need to abolish American policing as it currently exists.
Wow.
This is what propaganda looks like.
No kidding.
It's how the Soviet Union brainwashed and controlled multiple generations. But this time, instead of being good little Leninists, the media are trying to create an entire generation of Americans who hate their own country and want to tear down its evil and racist institutions. Now, the reason they're doing it is simple. Their Democrat masters, Pelosi and Schumer, have made a cynical and socially corrosive calculation. They've decided that Democrats need the specter of racism in order to win elections.
Right.
They need to convince minority voters that America's full of bigots and that the system is rigged against them. That life in 2021 is virtually the same as, 1965 Selma, Alabama. No progress whatsoever.
Right.
So that's why 9 months ago, we warned you against buying into Biden's false promise that he could bring calm and healing to the nation if he were elected after the summer of riots. Now, just ask Minnesota how calm things are tonight.
Right.
Now that Biden's in the White House.
Ooh.
Or Portland, for that matter. The fact is, the candidate that benefited from the devastating George Floyd riots was never going to bring tranquility to the nation. He's helping to fuel it. Since getting elected, Biden has only embraced this anti-American rhetoric that's continued to embolden the radical left's violence.
Amen.
Parts of our country are backsliding into the days of Jim Crow,
Listen to this.
passing laws that harken back to the era of poll taxes.
Listen.
When black people were made to guess how many jelly beans in a jar, or count the number of bubbles in a bar of soap before they could cast their ballot.
Mook. Idiot.
Cynical, dangerous. Yeah.
Jeez.
That's what that strategy is. And it's going to
Wow.
continue to spur riots, looting, and bloodshed. And of course, animosity between
That's
the
what's
races.
doing it. That's what's doing it. I
It will
told you.
lead to more good officers leaving the force. Who's going to be a police officer in this case?
Right.
No one. It's going to hurt the very communities that need safety the most. I just don't believe that this is what any racial group in America wants. Most of us do not believe that America is systemically racist.
Nope.
People are afraid to say so, maybe, but
Yep.
most people don't believe that.
Right.
But of course, racists do exist. And
Yep.
ironically, the most influential today among them are in academia and Hollywood, raking in millions by making sweeping generalizations
That's right.
about people based on skin color alone.
Preach it, sister.
You travel around the country and you'll see that most Americans, they just want to live in harmony and determine their own destiny. Maybe their kids can get a decent education. But we know that's not really what the media is looking for. That's not what they want, because it's not what the left wants.
Right.
They want chaos so they can bring about the ultimate reordering of every aspect of American society. And what does that mean? It just means less freedom and prosperity for you and more for them. And that's the angle.
Man, oh man, is she right on. Laura Ingraham. She said everything she said is right. I'm telling you, we can back up everything we say because it's as clear if you open your eyes. For those who say they're woke, if you really, really wake up, you are going to see so clearly that they are driving a wedge between us, and they are pushing for power and control, and they want us to be socialist, communist, period, so they can have it all, and we will be their serfs. Understand that, and we can fight it. Stay sleeping, and we're screwed, basically. I'm John James. We'll be back.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
In Maine, an astonishing 1 in 5 people will experience sexual violence in their lifetime. But you can support survivors, bring awareness, and help to bring an end to sexual assault during the Sexual Assault Crisis and Support Center's 10th annual 1 in 5 5K. This year, it's a hybrid event. You can participate virtually or in person at First Park in Oakland, Sunday, April 25th. All proceeds benefit the Sexual Assault Crisis and Support Center. For more information and to register, go to silentnomore.org.
What's important here at Moody's is we have a lot of opportunity for upward mobility.
Moody's definitely helped me through. They sent me to school. I got my degree in business. I had the demeanor and I had the willpower and the want.
Our trade is constantly changing and there's always new challenges that arise.
I definitely feel like an owner. It's very exciting.
When you like what you do, you like your job, you like the people you work with, what else could you ask for?
Bring your skills to Moody's and build a long-term future with us.
Spring is the time of renewal for both you and your home. So brighten your day and your surroundings with great items from Townline Antiques. Do you love classic decor? You'll find furniture, artwork, glassware, signs, and hundreds more pieces around every corner. Their classic colors and styles will have you thinking spring and feeling invigorated every time you see them. Or maybe you enjoy collecting books, comics, coins, sports memorabilia, watches, or classic electronics. Townline Antiques has rare items that you won't find anywhere else. Townline is also showcasing a new display of art glass that's absolutely dazzling. Each piece is one of a kind with its own unique flair of colors and form. You simply have to see them to appreciate their beauty. And for everyone who loves to bring items back to life, they're now carrying high-quality fusion mineral paints that give you beautiful color and a durable, long-lasting finish. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor, starting out with lots of clouds this morning and a slight chance for a light shower early. We'll gradually see increasing sun through this afternoon, brightest away from the coast. It will be cooler today with highs just in the low 60s. Sunny low 60s for Saturday and Sunday. Will stay mostly sunny but cooler with highs in the low to mid 60s through the start of next week.
Nine 9:42. Welcome back, Freedom's Pep Rally. John James at your service. Glad to be here with you, and I'm glad you're here with me. And share, get the word out, share the audio, share the video, share everything. Live at legacy1160.com. You can listen to our audio 24/7, brought to you by the Harry J. Smith Company. Video on all platforms, brought to you by Moody's Collision Center. On Facebook, if you're searching around there, you can find us on at Legacy 1160. Please like these pages as you go to them. Legacy 1160, Freedom's Pep Rally with John James, American Women Who Bear Arms, Right America Media, and of course it's also on my personal page, which is open to everybody, by the way. I do not close it, only to people who berate me and swear at me and say unforgivable things. I will ban you and block you, but otherwise I do not block anybody of any ilk, because I like to hear both sides. I try to be as objective as I can, and if my mind is shut to the other side, I won't know what's going on, and I will follow like a sheep everything my side says. And I don't care what side says it. I'm not going to be a sheep to anybody, because I am an individual, and so are you. Now, some don't accept it. Some think they are, but they're sheep. They're following along. They think this side is totally wrong about everything, and they will not listen to reason. And that is a problem. And it is going to be a problem going forward until we get people woke. I'm not saying join us. You got to be on our side. If you're not on our side, we're going to cancel you. We aren't the cancel culture. Look at where all of the divisiveness is. Look at where all the hate and vitriol is. Look who cancels who. It's not us. We just try to be free individuals, and we're finding it much harder these days. And we get accused of things we aren't every day by the left, because the left doesn't understand, because they are dutifully following a narrative. They are complying with their masters. And that's wrong. And that's sad. That's sad. They think, it's funny. They're very cocky people. Many leftists are very cocky people. They're very arrogant. They think they're intellectual. They believe they're smarter than you. But you know what? They're really pathetic. They are really pathetic. And I'm not saying they aren't smart. Most of them probably a lot smarter than I am. Give us an SAT, and I would probably come somewhere in the middle average, and all of these intellectual leftists would probably far surpass me. Probably my 12-year-old grandson would, for that matter, but that's another story. They just don't have objectivity. They don't have common sense. They're part of the mob. There are two really different mentalities. There are those who want to live their lives, like Laura Ingraham was saying. Most people, there is no systemic racism in America. I'm saying that as a matter of fact. Well, you don't know. Of course I know. Tell me where I've been to a lot of different places in America, traveling around. People go about their day, different races, different cultures, different languages. They interact, usually very politely. They go in, you see them in restaurants, you see people of different ilks. Go to Disney World. Go to Disney World. I mean, there's you talk about a myriad of different people. The races are getting along. We're going through the world. What do they call it there in Epcot Center? The World Showcase Pavilion. And I mean, you have people from all over the world there. It's great. And not just in the pavilions, in the different pavilions of all the different countries, and there are a ton of them, but of all different ilks just walking around. Families from Japan, from Germany, from many from the U.S., obviously, of different colors. I mean, we're the melting pot. We really are. Everybody, for the most part, that's America. That is America. But they want you to think. The news wants you to think. That's why they cherry pick what they show you. When they show you what's going on in the major Democratic stronghold cities like Minneapolis and Portland and Seattle, they show you what they want you to believe are mostly peaceful protests. And then when they go to something like January 6th, where there was just one gunfight, they call it an armed insurrection. There are more gunshots in Chicago in 1 hour. In 1 hour on any given weekend or probably weeknight. In 1 hour than there were during the whole armed insurrection. Yet they want you to think that was the most violent thing. That was our day that will live in infamy. And these riots, burning, throwing bottles at police. Oh, this is kind of funny. I've got to tell you. So in Minnesota last night, they were talking. You heard people, one of the activists saying how peaceful the protests were, and as she was saying it, a CNN reporter got smacked upside the head by a water bottle. I kid you not. You can look up the video; it's out there. You won't see it on CNN probably. Mostly peaceful protests. That's what they want you to think. They cherry pick what they show you, and they build a narrative around it. They write the stories. CNN is a propaganda outlet. They admitted it. We'll talk about that later here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Mike Lindell, I told you I'd have. So we've got by the way, we have Representative Shelley Rudnicki coming up here in about 10 minutes. After the news at 10 o'clock, we will have her on the radio, and we'll be talking to her as our main legislative update. So we'll get her on the phone, find out what's been happening over the last week as the Democrats usurp control from everybody in Augusta, Maine, in little old Augusta, Maine. They passed the budget without any Republican consent. So basically, anybody in the state with a Republican representative or senator in the state, this is for everybody who's listening everywhere, hear this. Maine is becoming little Massachusetts, has been for a long time, especially the southern coastal parts. By the way, did you know, like 13%, I heard this on the news the other night, 13% of the homes here in the state of Maine, mostly along the coast, very, very expensive real estate, by the way. 13% of the homes, I think that number is correct. I may be a little off, but somewhere around 13% are summer homes. They're vacation homes. So, in other words, people come here and they buy homes from liberal parts of the country. They move into the most liberal part of the state. They come in here. They live here for a little while, long enough probably to cast a vote. They cast a vote and they leave. They go home. Just the facts, man. So anyway, the Democrats in Maine passed the budget with no Republican consent. There was no debate. There was nothing. All they needed was a simple majority, and they had it. Because they said, well, we've got to do this. It's got to be done now. The only reason they wanted it to be done now is because had they waited a day or two or three, then they would have needed a 2/3 majority, and that would have meant some Republicans would have had to have a say. Can't allow it to happen. Just like with the emergency powers that Governor Tyrant Mills has. No, they're not going to. The Democrats are not going to allow the emergency powers to be taken away from her. Even though Florida is doing great, even though Texas is doing great, even though South Dakota is doing great, Tyrant Mills wants to keep us locked down, and the Democratic majority wants to let her. That's where we are in Maine. Don't you want to come here now? I would rather go to Florida right now, to be honest with you, or South Carolina or Texas, which is also doing very well, by the way. So, you know what? We'll do Mike Lindell later. This is not necessarily a hot topic, although he's got a couple of things on the burner, and they're potentially very good. You know, I'm not too hyped up about him yet, but we'll see. And we'll talk about it a little bit later here on Legacy 1160, if there is time. I do want to give you this. Now, I am not saying that you, and I will never do this, I will never tell anybody they shouldn't do something they feel led to do. If you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine, then you should do it. Because you know what? You have the right. Until the government says you must have the vaccine, and they're working toward that. I wouldn't doubt it if Maine said that. They're working toward it. But if you want to get the vaccine, by all means, go ahead and get the COVID-19 vaccine. I'm still on the fence whether or not I'm going to get it. But we'll see. I'm not saying no, and I believe in its efficacy. The thing we don't know about is the long-term effects. That's the caveat. And we can't. There's no way to know about the long-term effects. There just isn't. This is brand new. So if they say what they are saying, they are drawing conclusions when they say, this is going to be fine. No long-term effects. Well, how many drugs have they said that about in the past? How long did they say that about asbestos? Don't worry, it's asbestos. Don't worry about it. Dust from paint in body shops. Don't worry about it. Now they have to mask up and they still get lung disease. Cigarettes, don't worry about it. Cigarettes are okay. Well, duh, who could have thought that sucking smoke into your lungs would be a bad thing? But they didn't. So nobody can say that there are going to be no long-term effects to the vaccine. Perhaps there won't. Hopefully there won't, because some in my family are getting it or have had it. And as I said, I may. But I do want to bring you this. A prominent physician scientist is warning now that indiscriminate vaccination of people with, and we talked about this yesterday with Dr. G, and there are different schools of thought on this, but you need to know all of it so you can make an informed decision. So here it is. Dr. Human Norsham. I don't know. I have no idea. He was on now with Tucker Carlson tonight on Tuesday. And he said in the interview that blood clots, you had blood clotting, and they've stopped the distribution of the J&J vaccine, the one-shot vaccine. And this doctor is saying that such complications aren't isolated to the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, noting cases entered in the federal database, which is VAERS, regarding the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. Here's what the doctor had to say on Tucker's show when asked, is the federal government even taking this seriously. Here's what the doctor had to say.
Well, I haven't seen any evidence that they're taking it seriously, frankly. And I think that, again, I want to reiterate, as we have before, that the most unprecedented thing that we're doing in this vaccine campaign is that we're deploying it indiscriminately into folks who have been recently or previously infected. And I think that we shouldn't underestimate what the effect of a vaccine-driven immune response is on the tissues in individuals who have been previously infected. And literally, the antigenic footprint of the virus persists in the tissues of the previously infected. So it's not a far stretch to imagine that those tissues, such as the inner lining of the blood vessel, would be targeted by the vaccine immune response. And I have not yet seen any evidence, frankly, of the FDA or CDC taking this seriously. And in fact, this is actually a very easy thing, Tucker, to evaluate for. There is the immune response of the naturally infected actually mounts a response against something called the nucleocapsid protein of the virus. And in fact, these 6 young women, unfortunately, who've had these severe adverse reactions, I would really challenge the FDA and CDC to inform the American people as to whether or not these individuals had anti-nucleocapsid antibodies in their blood. Because if they did, they were naturally infected, and that association is going to be very critical. I think it's a major mistake to assume that you can put this vaccine into people who've been recently or currently infected and expect that no complications will result. So we can stick our head in the sand on this thing if we want to, but clearly here we are. One of the major manufacturers has now halted distribution of the vaccine. The question is, were these 6 people who were previously or recently infected?
All right, so that's good to know. This should not be a political issue. It's a fair question. It deserves to be answered. Nobody is trying to scare you, but we just want to give you the information. Something else to consider. Of course, it's up to you. It's a free country. You're an individual. Let's hope it stays that way. Got to take a break. We've got news. We've got Shelley Rudnicki coming up after 10. Stick around for her. I'm John James.
WSKW, Legacy 1160. Drug Take-Back Day is coming Saturday, April 24th from 10 to 2. Prescriptions left in medicine cabinets are fueling Maine's drug epidemic. In 2020, Maine saw 502 drug overdose deaths, a record number that Maine is not proud of. Early reports suggest that 2021 may break that record, with 58 deaths caused by drugs in January alone. But you can help by safely disposing of unused, unwanted, or expired medications with no questions asked. To find a drop-off location for Drug Take-Back Day, Saturday, April 24th in Somerset or Kennebec County, visit facebook.com/Somerset Public Health and click on events. Can't make it to Drug Take-Back Day? Don't worry. Secure prescription drug drop-off boxes are available anytime. A complete list of locations can be found at somersetpublichealth.org/meds. Make sure to check Somerset Public Health social media for tips on how to safely store medications as well. Don't wait. With your help, we can curb the drug epidemic in Maine.
Have adventurous plans this spring? You're going to need a Jeep. So head to Haight Chrysler Dodge Jeep to save on new Jeep vehicles during their Jeep Celebration event, now through the end of April. Shop online at HaightChryslerDodgeJeep.com or stop by 507 Lakewood Road, Clowes Corner, Madison.
This is Molly from Rod Cycling RV. We're about a year into the pandemic, and we're all searching for some sort of normalcy. Picture yourself sitting by the campfire with friends and family, your favorite drink in hand, sharing stories and laughing. I bet you thought of a specific night. We want to help you find your normal. We have a large selection of new and pre-loved travel trailers and fifth wheels, fully stocked parts store, and the best camper service around. Rod Cycling RV, Route 201 Madison, or online at rodcycleandrv.com. We're not trying to be the biggest, but always trying to be the best.
Hi, I'm Greg from Gregory's Disposal. Dumpsters, dumpsters, dumpsters. Call Gregory's Disposal, 465-4500. We can help. Cleaning out Grandma's attic, or if the kids finally moved out, leaving the junk behind, we have debris dumpsters and many sizes of roll-offs to get the job done quickly and efficiently. Call Gregory's. Call Gregory's, 465-4500. How about remodeling, redoing the roof, tearing off the old porch? Gregory's will bring the right size dumpster at the right cost. Our dumpsters are brown, and we keep our prices down. Call Gregory's. Call Gregory's, 465-4500. Gregory's can also help with your weekly rubbish. We offer many services, including curbside pickup, residential dumpsters, whatever you need. Gregory's is there to help. Call Gregory's, 465-4500. In case you missed it, call Gregory's Disposal, 465-4500.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington.
This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Faith Abube. First-time unemployment claims falling sharply last week. 576,000 Americans filed, the lowest since March 14th of last year. The week before, it was 769,000. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on the ground in Afghanistan, meeting with Afghan leaders a day after President Biden announced the full withdrawal of U.S. troops from the region by September 11th. That's creating concerns over security in the region, ABC's Martha Raddatz explains.
If you don't have troops on the ground, it limits our ability to gather intelligence. The best example of that is Iraq. In 2011, President Obama pulled out all U.S. troops, and a little more than 2 years later, ISIS began taking over the country, and American forces were sent back to Iraq.
Police in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota say they made 24 arrests in last night's protest over the police shooting of Dante Wright. The officer charged with second-degree manslaughter is due to appear at her first court hearing today. This is ABC News. Search crews in the Gulf of Mexico have already covered an area the size of Rhode Island, looking for a dozen people still missing after a commercial boat capsized in rough seas. The suspect in a Texas crime spree that started with the shooting of a police officer is now in custody.
Burleson, Texas police officer Joshua Lott had stopped an SUV for a broken taillight when, says Chief Billy Cordell,
there's no other way to say it, he was absolutely ambushed.
Despite 3 gunshot wounds, including one to the neck, Officer Lott is going to be okay. The shooter drove away but abandoned his vehicle and, according to police, carjacked and killed a woman. Hours later, a man named Jerry Elders was arrested near the Oklahoma border, driving the dead woman's pickup truck. He's held on over $1 million bond. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
Critics call it court packing. A group of Democrats on Capitol Hill today proposing a measure to expand the Supreme Court to 13 justices. President Biden has said he's not a fan of expanding the court, but has announced plans for a commission to study the idea. Faith Abube, ABC News.
Hi, I'm calling to schedule a shipment.
Indeed knows unexpected employee turnover can turn your business upside down.
Last pickup is at 7. Team, we gotta hustle.
Like at Sumita's online chai company, to avoid back orders, she needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Oh, hits
all the time.
Let's go commercial free. Even though saying we're going commercial free is technically a commercial for this station. When I say commercial free, I mean no commercials from our sponsors. But saying that is still a commercial of sorts, just to be clear. Okay, now I'm confused. Let's go commercial free. Except for this message about how we're going commercial free.
Maybe commercials about going commercial free just need a Snickers. Snickers satisfies.
Hey! Hi. How are you? Oh, gosh, Shelley Rudnicki. My. I thought, well, I went out to enjoy a little sunshine. And then I didn't remember to. And I said, as I was going out, I said, I'll get back in time to call Shelley. And I come back in here and I sit down. And like the pinhead I am and can be, I forgot to call her. So we're going to get her on the line right now. See, I can walk and chew gum at the same time. I can. Hopefully we'll get the right number. I've misdialed live on the air before too, but I don't think I'm going to this time. Hold on. Let's see what we can see here today. Shelley Rudnicki. Nothing's happening. Of course it's not. Hello, Shelley.
Hi, this is Shelley Rudnicki and Shelley's Used Cars.
Okay, well, Shelley's Used Cars. So we did get her, but we didn't get her. So I think I sent her my number. Maybe she'll call us back here. All right. Well, let's move on here. We'll do a story, then we'll try her again here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. That's a little embarrassing. It's my own fault. Hey, DC statehood is coming. Let's talk about a couple of things that the left is working on now to make sure that they never again lose power. Yeah, I know that sounds pretty outrageous, doesn't it? But it's absolutely the truth. Trying to catch up on we get a lot of, sorry, I'm just looking through these comments here. Rick, preparing for the Dems takeover by setting up a tiki bar in the Bahamas. There you go. You know who else is setting up in the Bahamas? We'll get to this. One of the co-founders of BLM, this righteous organization that is anything but righteous. Have you heard about what she's doing? She's got a place. She got 3 places now. She's gotten rich off this. Oh, she's at her office. Oh, all right. Let's do that. Well, that's easy enough. All right. So let me do this again here. This is in case you had any question as to whether or not this is live. Would I be dumb enough to pre-record and play back something this unprofessional? I don't think I would. But though I wouldn't put it past me. All right, let's see if we can get Shelley at her office here. One ringy dingy.
Hello.
Hey, Shelley Rudnicki.
Hey, John.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I don't know. I got a new phone and it's acting up. So.
Okay, yeah, it went right to voicemail. So I was a little.
Yeah, it shouldn't have because I was sitting here waiting for your call.
Okay, well, yeah, I was a little concerned about that, but I'm glad we're good to go now. How are you this morning?
I'm good. It's been a pretty crazy week, that's for sure.
No kidding. Now, you guys, after we spoke with you last week, when did you re-adjourn or regather? Not adjourn.
We had committee again on. We had committee again on Friday, and I had committee again Monday and yesterday, which I did yesterday more from home. But we've had a lot of workshops, work sessions, and quite a few public hearings in my committee. And so it's just been busy because they're trying to ram everything through.
Now, are they trying to ram everything through because they are Democrat and costly objectives, or are they just trying to get out of there?
I think some of them are costly. I think, my committee, there are several things that they are trying to put through without giving Commissioner Liberty in Corrections a chance to deal with some of the youth issues that he wants to deal with. And they just want to push it through. They want to shut down Long Creek and take that money away from corrections and do all kinds of other things. And now, I have a problem with all of these social issues that we're so worried about dealing with, just because they have something going against them, it's all of a sudden not their fault that they commit a crime.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So what they're trying to do, what they're doing is making not the criminals guilty, because that is social injustice, but they're trying to make the more criminal among us look like, oh, they just need, are they trying to bring humanity to crime, do you think?
I missed part of your question there, John. You broke up just a little bit.
Okay. Are they trying to put humanity into crime by saying, well, I mean, they've changed the reference from prisoner or inmate to resident. Are they against policing and against our prison system, do you think?
I think that, yes, they are. I think that they think that everything can be taken care of with social issues and socialization and constant handout.
Right.
That's what it feels like anyway with some of these bills. They don't want people to take accountability for what they're doing. And I just have a problem with that. I'll give you an example. And I wanted to tell you about something that drove me crazy this week too. But one of the things one of the bills that we dealt with earlier this week had to do with contextual or stops. Basically, if a police officer stops you because you have a taillight out, and let's say your trunk pops open and there's something in there that's illegal.
Right.
Well, if it can be proved that you stopped them because they didn't look right, whether it was the color of their skin or because they had dreadlocks or because they looked like a thug, they want to be able to throw out any additional crimes that might occur that they found.
Even if it's clearly a crime.
Even if it's clearly a crime. So what ended up happening is this got voted down in committee. It was like a 6-5 vote in committee. So an ought not to pass. However, and here's what a lot of folks don't understand within the context of the legislature. Just because it's an ought not to pass doesn't mean it doesn't move forward. So it's going to move forward into the House. Now, what they can do, because the Democrats control everything,
right,
they can put forth the minority report, which was an ought to pass.
Okay.
They don't have to put forth that, we voted, to not pass it. They can put forth the minority report of ought not to pass. Of ought to pass.
Of ought to
so
pass.
It has to go through and be voted on, and they can run it through again. So they can, even if it doesn't get past the committee with a majority, they can still push it to the House floor.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they're really running over half the state, aren't they? Are they listening? Have the Republicans been able to accomplish anything at all this session? Anything?
A lot of us are trying to work with them and trying to get, to work together to make a bad bill better.
Of course.
Or just work on some of these bills. We are trying, but sometimes it feels like it goes in one ear and out the other, that they're just not listening to us at all. And they don't need to. So I don't think in a lot of ways they are. And that's what's happening. We have been fortunate for a few bills that we've been able to do some bipartisan, but for the most part, I'm not seeing it. I was told when I came onto this committee that it's a good committee. We really try hard to work bipartisanly, but it's just not happening. It's just not happening right now. And because they don't have to.
Wow.
What has to happen is we have to get back to the State House. We can do that safely.
Of course. They don't want to, do they?
No, because they don't see I think the personal one-on-one, having those one-on-one conversations with other legislators, with the different parties, it helps because you can explain your thought process.
Sure.
You also, having people come in front of us and testify, it makes them more real. Doing it on Zoom, and then if you have internet issues, which there has been some internet issues within those of us that are at the Capitol or in the Cross building. We've had some internet issues too to deal with, but people that have internet issues at home, they sometimes you can miss out on things because of your own internet issues. I was testifying on a bill myself in one of the other committees, and I thought I got kicked off. I actually had a committee member from my side of the aisle give me a call and say, hey, we can see your picture, but you're not coming in and we can't hear you. So I was able to get back on to testify. But that's the type of issues that we're having. Instead of being there, it's just causing a problem. And we need to get back to the Capitol. There should be no reason why we can't be at the Capitol.
It's a sin. It's just easier for them to push through their agenda if they don't have to have live testimony, if they don't have to have back and forth in person. And this is what they want to do. I get the feeling not just Maine, also Maine, but everybody is on a fast track to push through as much socialism as they can before 2022. Do you agree?
Oh, I totally agree with you on that. And into that realm, you might want to put out there between May 3rd and May 5th, we've got a lot of gun bills coming to criminal justice.
Oh, really? Now, do we know what any of those gun bills look like?
I don't yet. There's a few that are popping up here and there. I'll have a better idea of what they are over the next few days, and I will certainly send you what I get for LD numbers so that you can follow through on those, because I know that that's an important issue for you and your listeners.
Absolutely.
There's also some hunting bills that are being heard next week. There is, let's see if I found, on the hunting bills, there's a lot of different ones. There's a Sunday hunting bill. There's
Right.
Sunday hunting with the permission of the landowner. So
Yep.
those bills are being heard. I put a note here. I believe they're being heard on the 21st.
21st of May or April?
April.
April 21st. Okay, on the hunting
there's some
bills. Yep.
There's quite a few hunting bills,
All right.
and those are actually going to be in. Those are going to be actually in inland fisheries and wildlife.
Oh, over on State Street.
Well, they're going to be heard in the committee of inland fisheries.
Okay. All right.
So
All right. Well, they aren't. They
folks
aren't going to be.
go on and testify
Yeah.
For those bills, or even submitting written testimony.
Okay.
Helps.
Mm.
So I would definitely suggest that for any of these bills, because there's different ones. There's Act to expand the hunting season. There's requiring a non-resident to hire a licensed Maine Guard to hunt big game.
Yep.
There's, what else am I seeing here? There's all kinds of, there's some disability hunting bills. There's some lowering the hunter youth age. So there's quite a few hunting bills coming before inland fisheries. So I know that's always an important issue for here in the state of Maine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's things that people really need to pay attention to.
Yep. Yeah, we've got Sportsmen's Alliance of Maine and the Gun Owners of Maine will be all over this stuff. So
Yeah.
that's good. We've got good representation there, but the more voices, the better. And this is, of course, this is all going to be virtual, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because they don't think that, we can be trusted to go back safely.
Right, exactly.
Either
Yeah,
that
yeah.
or Senator Jackson, the president of the Senate, seems to think that, and I probably said this to you before, but seems to think that the legislative staffers and the state employees are more important than your local grocery store clerk.
Yeah, right. That's what it seems like. I mean, that's exactly what it seems like.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So we should be back in session. There should be we are responsible adults. And if we're not feeling good, then we don't go in. Yesterday, I didn't feel good in the morning. So I decided, I can Zoom from home today. I won't take that chance.
There you go.
It was nothing. It was minor. But I, as an adult, chose not to go to Augusta.
Imagine that. You made an individual, personal, responsible decision, Shelley Rudnicki. I think we're all...
I think that's what we're supposed to be, adults here.
Yeah,
But apparently, he does. Senator Jackson, and I believe the majority of this is coming from Senator Jackson.
Is that right?
Doesn't believe that we can take those type of personal responsibilities, and doesn't trust us to, know what our own health is and know how we're feeling, and to not go in when things are, you're not feeling well. So it's just, to me, it's ridiculous, and what we have to put up with in Augusta. And I don't know if I've said this or not to you, but I will tell you that the lack of respect this term towards legislators is incredible.
Wow.
I have noticed. So it used to be you would walk in there, and I was surprised when it happened the first time I walked into the building or whatever, and they know you're a legislator. It's,
right.
Good morning, Representative, and everybody's smiling and nice, and just being very respectful. Now you're lucky if anybody will make eye contact, let alone say good morning.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the era of hate. And that's what we've got. And you tell Senator Speaker Jackson that John James says he's a mook.
I wouldn't have a problem doing that.
Good. Well, you do that. I wouldn't have a problem having you do that.
The problem is, I don't see him. And I will tell you, and I've talked to you about this before, where I had knocked on the governor's door so many times. This is really funny. She's invited a lot of legislators to do Zoom breakfasts with her.
Yep.
And some of the new legislators and stuff. But I've now been in Augusta for 3 years, and I have yet to be invited. I wonder why that is.
Well, you push back. You can't push back against the tyrant. Didn't you know that?
Now, apparently, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of funny that, she's scared of me.
No, I
But that's what it
think
seems
I think it's good. I think these people need to be scared of more people. People who are doing the people's work are the ones that are most feared by the tyrants, and that's a good sign that you are feared by her. And I commend you for that.
Well, I keep trying. There was another bill I wanted folks to pay attention to, and we talked about it a little bit last week, was the voter ID.
Oh, right. Yeah, the one that...
Yesterday, they had a hearing in VLA, the Veterans and Legal Affairs. The hearing can be watched on YouTube, and it was several bills, but one of them was LD 253, and once again, some of the members of the committee have been called, they're being called names or being compared to white supremacists. They're being called repugnant. I believe it was even, and I've just started watching it around the 3.5 hour mark or whatever. He actually said that it's repugnant that we would vote for voter ID.
Okay, these people are racist. You give me the timestamps on those. I'm not saying I'm not, but
from what my understanding is, the VLA committee hearing yesterday on 4/15/21 was about the 3.5 hour mark. There's some conversation around this bill between the 3.5 hour and 4. I haven't watched it completely to know. I just have heard about it. So I'm going to go on and watch it some more too to see. Wow. Those are the types of things. We are being called out or called names if we don't support everything that has to do with race.
What children they are. And you know what? Everything they say, every time they insinuate that you're racist or you're white supremacist, you look at them and say, I'm not, but clearly you are. And that's exactly accurate. It's not you, it's them. They are racist.
We don't agree with them on any of this stuff. We are a racist.
And no, it's them.
That's it's getting out of hand. Yep. And unless we push back, which, there are some of us that are pushing back.
Good.
It's happening all around. There's another bill coming that has to do with, we're not sure, immigrants or illegal immigrants.
Illegal.
That was actually in my committee. It's LD 963. They want a halfway house for juveniles that are immigrants.
Illegals or legal?
Well, that's the question. That's the, $100,000 question right there, whether it's illegal or not.
Yeah.
There should be if it's a halfway house for juveniles, which I know that the commissioner is working on. He's working on things like that. They want it specifically for immigrants. And they want to segregate the immigrants, making it different. I have a problem with that.
Interesting, yeah.
I mean, but they have not come right out and said if it's illegals or legal or illegal immigrants. They just think that they should have their own halfway house. Either way,
it's racism. The very ones who call out racism are racist. This is Jim Crow. This is Jim Crow. What they do is Jim Crow. Joe Biden keeps asserting that we're making Jim Crow laws like in Georgia. He is lying. He is wrong. He is dumb. He is a shell of his former self. He's being controlled by the left. And every time they say racist, I laugh because they are so clearly racist.
On that one. Totally agree with you on that. Yeah, there's a lot going on in Augusta. I really encourage people to pay attention.
Yep.
Check out legislature.maine.gov. You can look up bills there. You can look up where they are in committee status. You can look up what's going on in each committee at different days. So, people need to be involved. They need to be engaged.
Good. Amen.
There's so much.
Yep.
And I will tell you, coming forth, so again, April 28th, we're going back into session.
Okay.
And we've only had 3 days of session so far, which is why, again, we should be at the State House where we can do more session.
Right.
And coming up in May, I expect we're going to be looking at some supplemental budgets.
Wow. Here we go. Here we go.
There's a lot going on, and I'm happy to keep you folks up to date. And I know it's so much to try to just talk about different things, but I'm trying to highlight different.
No,
things.
you're excellent. And by the way, I want to mention again, and we're just about ready to get. I was going to run your ad this morning, but I didn't get it moved over to the right computer. But the show, our legislative updates are brought to you by Shelley's Used Cars in Fairfield and Caring Hands, also at Fairfield, and they are looking for employees right now, and we'll have more on that in the not too distant future. So that's all good stuff. And Representative Shelley Rudnicki of District 108, I really appreciate your time, and I really, really appreciate, and your constituents appreciate, what you are attempting, at least, to get done there in the legislature by doing the people's work and not the work of the tyrants.
Well, that's what we're trying.
Amen. Amen. Well, listen, if there's not anything else, I'm going to let you go. And I hope
I could go on all day, John. You know that.
I know that. I love that.
But I'm trying to keep it a little bit to a minimum with you, because there is a lot of information. But I'm happy to do it, and happy to talk to you whenever you want to.
Well, I look forward to talking with you again next week, Shelley Rudnicki.
All right, sounds good.
Have a great rest of the week and a great weekend.
You too.
Bye now.
Bye.
All right, that's the amazing Shelley Rudnicki, representative from District 108. That is Norwich Walk. No, it's not Norwich Walk. It is Mercer. It is Smithfield. It is Fairfield. Boom, bow. That's odd. Why is Norwich Walk not in there? Because Norwich Walk is before Mercer. I don't know. I'm not going to try to figure that one out. We've got more coming up. We've got a lot to get to. We're going to be talking about how the Democrats are trying to get their one-party rule pushed through. And I'm telling you, if you're on the left, if you're a moderate and you're on the left, please fight the fight with us. You don't have to fight for all the things that we do. You have your own set of standards and morals. I get that. But you've got to fight for the country, for our freedom, You've got to fight for objectivity. I don't know if it exists anymore. Stick around. We'll be back. I'm John James, and this is Freedom's Pep Rally, brought to you by The Gun Shop on Coney Circle in Augusta.
WSKW, Legacy 1160.
Us hardworking men still want to look our best. That's why you need to head to Penny's Barber Shop. You'll get an excellent haircut, straight edge neck shave, and a hot towel wrap, all for only $18.
Hi, I'm Christine, and I know what you're looking for when it comes to a great haircut and shave. From traditional styles to new ones, we listen to our customers because we have done it all.
When you look good, you feel good. So call Penny's Barber Shop to set up an appointment today at 380-6224. Penny's Barber Shop, 173 State Street in Augusta, next to Enterprise.
Spring is the time of renewal for both you and your home. So brighten your day and your surroundings with great items from Town Line Antiques. Do you love classic decor? You'll find furniture, artwork, glassware, signs, and hundreds more pieces around every corner. Their classic colors and styles will have you thinking spring and feeling invigorated every time you see them. Or maybe you enjoy collecting books, comics, coins, sports memorabilia, watches, or classic electronics. Town Line Antiques has rare items that you won't find anywhere else. Town Line is also showcasing a new display of art glass that's absolutely dazzling. Each piece is one of a kind, with its own unique flair of colors and form. You simply have to see them to appreciate their beauty. And for everyone who loves to bring items back to life, they're now carrying high-quality fusion mineral paints that give you beautiful color and a durable, long-lasting finish. Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5. Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
Not all bed liners are alike. Linex spray-on bed liners offer protection from every angle with no lost cargo space, as well as protection from cracking, bubbling, and peeling with a factory-like finish and a nationwide guarantee. See the difference for yourself at Linex of Augusta, 509 Main Avenue, Farmingdale, your authorized Linex dealer. Your truck is your baby, and Linex of Augusta has some sharp accessories that'll make your ride stand out. From truck caps and tonneau covers, Nerf bars, cargo management, towing supplies, mud flaps, and ladder racks to chrome accents. Dress up your ride today at Linex of Augusta. Augusta, 509 Main Avenue, Farmingdale.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor, starting out with lots of clouds this morning and a slight chance for a light shower early. We'll gradually see increasing sun through this afternoon, brightest away from the coast. It will be cooler today with highs just in the low 60s. Sunny low 60s for Saturday and Sunday. Will stay mostly sunny but cooler with highs in the low to mid 60s through the start of next week.
Welcome back. Pep Rally for Freedom. I'm John James. And so much stuff. I say that all the time, I know, but there is. Believe me, if there wasn't much stuff, I'd say, hey, we don't have much to talk about today. Let's take some calls and talk about the weather. Let's talk about how beautiful it is outside. And it is right now outside my window. It is absolutely gorgeous. Wife's actually outside. She first day really where she gets to do some work around the house, doing some work around the house where the plow is pushed dirt on the lawn. And, oh, man, just clean up after the winter is always a chore. Not for me. I say that lovingly. She loves being outdoors doing all the work, and I'm always in here doing show prep or someplace doing the show or something like that. Let's talk about the modus operandi of the left now. What do they want to do? Well, we know they want one-party control. We know they have been pushed further and further to the left. And we know that their desire is to have us all in their control as opposed to them being in our control. And this all plays into the fact, like I always say, they don't care about the Constitution. They don't. They just don't. They prove it every single day. They don't care about the Constitution. It means nothing to them. So there's a new bill coming. According to Newsmax, the Democratic-controlled House Oversight Committee approved a bill to make Washington, D.C. the 51st state, sending it to a vote on the House floor as soon as next week. And, of course, it's going to pass the House. Of course. What do you expect? Well, it passed. First of all, it's not constitutional what they are doing. As I say, they don't care about the Constitution. For the first time in our history, the Constitution is being summarily ignored. Completely. Anything they want to do, they do. Or they try to do, regardless of the Constitution. And now we've got such a dopey electorate who elected Democrats, and they still have a majority in the House. They have a 1-vote majority with Kamala Harris in the Senate. And so if it gets to the point where they can do anything on a simple majority, we're screwed. Period. I mean, that's all there is to it. Because the electorate is dumb. The electorate is a potpourri of people, all of whom want apparently free stuff. They want free stuff and they want climate action. Stupid. It's stupid. It's a disease. It is a mental disorder. Some may realize that now. Many don't. So the legislation to make D.C. a state cleared the committee on a 25-19 party line vote. Stands little chance in the Senate because it's going to face broad opposition by Republicans, broad opposition, and from some Democrats. Joe Manchin, for example. Oversight Chairwoman Carolyn Maloney, a New York Democrat. Well, there's a surprise right there, huh? She said, quote, "The United States is the only democratic country that denies both voting rights in the national legislature and local self-government to the people of its capital. And that is Wrong. It violates everything we stand for as Americans. But it's in the Constitution. I'm sorry, Carolyn, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry. So what's she going to do? Well, they're just going to say, screw the Constitution, like they always do. Like they've done with the First Amendment, with the Second Amendment, with the Fourth and Fifth Amendments. Just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The bill, H.R. 51, here's what it would do. Here's how they're going to get around it. They're going to get around the Constitution. They specialize in that, you know. They're going to shrink the size. This is what they would like to do. They want to shrink the size of the nation's capital to include federal buildings and monuments, the National Mall, White House, Capitol Building, Supreme Court Building. And the rest of the district would become the 51st state. So they are trying to keep the capital autonomous and making all the rest of the land the state. So the capital does remain its own entity. And see, by doing that, do they make what do they call it? Do they just call it the capital? There's got to be a name for it. What are they going to call the state? Who knows? Who cares? It's not going to happen. But it could. That's the thing. It could. And that should scare. And Puerto Rico wants statehood, and they want to give it to Puerto Rico. We're going to be kind to everybody because they're going to vote for us. They're going to vote for us forever and ever and always. It's going to be great. We're going to be in power. We're going to be like Leonid Brezhnev, like John Lennon. Oh, I'm sorry, Lenin. Like Yuri Andropov, like Khrushchev. We are going to have all the power. They are going to be subservient to us. It's going to be great. You know what? That will happen. If they get their way, that will happen. And I'll tell you something about that right now. When that happens, their cloak will come off. Because all of a sudden, they aren't going to care about people. They aren't going to care about the children. They aren't going to care about the women. They aren't going to care about the transgenders. They aren't going to care because now they've got power. And that you're going to find it was only pretend caring to begin with. That's what it is. It's pretend caring. It's pretend emotion to make you think they care. And they have fooled so many people. So many people really believe they care, and they don't. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. They're playing. They're faking their compassion. That's all it is. And once they get their power, they won't hide it. They won't have to. They won't have to. They're only making everyone think they care because it means power. As soon as they get the power, screw the peasants. You are our serfs. You will follow our lead. You will do what we say, or we will put you in a concentration camp and re-educate you or kill you. Like China is doing to the Uyghurs. Joe says, well, it's just a cultural difference. Where am I? Idiot. We've got a 78-year-old idiot in the White House. We've got an opportunistic, I don't want to say what I'd like to, waiting to take the reins. And they're all faking compassion for power. Please wake up. For the love of all that's holy, wake up. Leftists. Although the population of Washington, D.C. is greater than Wyoming or Vermont, the district has one non-voting representative in Congress. It is Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton. Holmes Norton has introduced the D.C. statehood bill every year in Congress since 1991, 30 years. But now they're hungry for power. They're hungry. They'll do anything to get power, including stacking the Supreme Court. That's next. That's coming up next. James Comer of Kentucky, who is the ranking Republican on the committee, said, quote, let's be very clear with H.R. 51 what it's about. It's all about creating 2 new Democratic U.S. Senate seats. Bingo. It's not about statehood. Again, it's not about compassion for the people who don't have the representation in D.C. It's not about that because they don't care about that. If D.C. were Republican, do you think they would be pushing for statehood? Of course they wouldn't. And neither would the Republicans, because the Republicans aren't that petty. The Republicans are more objective. Conservatives are that way. Angry, hateful, despicable, that's your progressive left. And they will do anything now to take full control of America. Chuck Schumer said it. We win, Georgia. We can change America. Spoken like a true tyrant. Spoken like Hitler. There's your Hitler. There is your Hitler with the reading glasses or whatever the hell those things are. The guy from New York, Chuck Schumer. Chuck, I love killing babies and will stand up for women to look good, Schumer. There's your man. There's your New York Hitler. He and Cuomo, 2 peas in a pod. Here's what Republicans have suggested. This makes good sense. Sure, we need to give D.C. representation. They should have representatives in Congress. So here's what we do. Here's a Republican's idea. Now, this is smart. In my book, this is smart. So, of course, the Democrats hate it because it doesn't automatically give them power. It becomes questionable. They don't want question. They want unquestionable power. And this puts too much flux in it for them. But here's what Republicans have suggested for an alternative to making the district its own state. One of these suggestions is returning parts of D.C. to Maryland, making parts of D.C. Maryland. So the people are represented. They get a voting representative. But if it's part of Maryland, gosh, it could go either way. I mean, there are a lot of Republicans in Maryland. We don't want to take a chance. We want the 51st state, because then we know because we know our city. It's going to be a Democrat. 2 Democratic representatives are going to be elected, and they're going to represent D.C. That'll give us almost total control. All powerful, omnipotent Democrats. You make it part of Maryland, which would make you keep it at 50 states. You'd give people the representation. Perfect. Why not? I'd go for that. It changes boundaries. It doesn't change the number of states, doesn't change the makeup necessarily. It could. It may not. No. It's got to be unquestionable or nothing. And if that doesn't work, well, we've always got the Supreme Court. You heard about this? Here's the deal on the Supreme Court. They want to add 1 or 2 states, and they want open borders, and they want free college, and they want Medicare for all, and they want to pack the Supreme Court. They want to pack the Supreme Court, making it another legislative body, assuring one-party totalitarian rule. It's not going to stop. Okay, here's a fair question. I want you to think about this. I'm not going to answer it, and I don't want you necessarily to answer it. You can if you want, and I'll read. Whatever you write, I will read on the air if you want to. Where is our red line? Now, I'm asking this seriously. As as Americans, as free Americans, where is our red line going to be? And more importantly, what are we going to do when they cross it? Is that a fair question? I mean, how far is too far? I've been asking that for a long time. And it used to be incremental change. You'd see things, we'd incrementally lose certain privileges, certain rights, certain things would change, and we were, okay, well, yeah, that's whatever. I mean, like with COVID-19, we have lockdown for a couple of weeks, it'll be great. Okay, and now we're a year and a month into it. And we're still sitting here, oh, geez, I wish this... All right, okay, so the gloves are off now. The leftist gloves are off. They are not taking things slow and easy anymore. Remember, it used to be slow and easy. Just like Ike and Tina Turner's Proud Mary. Nice and slow, slow and easy. And then they'd get into that rockin' part, and you loved it. Well, when is the rockin' part going to come here, and what does it look like? We know what they're doing, and they're doing it much more quickly than I thought would happen. But it's all because they had Donald Trump to deal with, who loved freedom, and they saw how quickly freedom could take away their tyranny, set them back years on their tyrannical advances that they've been making. Donald Trump was a threat to tyranny, and that's why they hated him, and that's why they got so many people on the left, some on the right, to hate him, because he was a threat to control and power. And now they are stopping at literally nothing. Up to and including what they want to do is be able to come into your house and tell you where to store the guns, whatever guns they allow you to keep, where and when you can go out and buy a gun, how long you have to wait to get a gun, even if you're under a direct threat from somebody, maybe a former spouse or an ex-lover or some thug that just doesn't like you. And they're moving on this. And the Supreme Court, it's our last hope. But they don't like the fact, it's all because of Trump. It's all because of Trump. They don't like the fact that he was able to get 3 justices on the Supreme Court, even though I have seen nothing to make me believe that it's any more conservative than it was before. Yet, so far, we may never see it. You know why? Because they want to put a bunch of new people on the Supreme Court. Tom Bevan is the founder of Real Clear Politics. And he was on with Eric Shawn on Fox News talking about the lunacy in this attempted move at total control. So Eric Shawn asked Bevan, is this a move for politics or principle or both?
Pretty much all politics. I mean, look, the Democrats were not in favor of this. And that's what really matters here, right? You played in the earlier, David Spunt's earlier package, Ruth Bader Ginsburg in 2019, Stephen Breyer just last week at Harvard, Harry Reid just a couple of days ago saying, look, this is a bad idea. Joe Biden, not only in 1983, but in 2005 characterized this as a power grab. So Democrats have not been in favor of this until Donald Trump appointed 3 conservative Supreme Court justices. And suddenly we needed to have not court packing, what the Democrats are now calling it is judicial reform. And so that's what they're pushing. But look, ultimately, I think this just gives Biden, allows him to kick the issue down the road about 6 months until this. He just allows him to buy some time so he doesn't have to deal with this, because it is a thorn in his side politically.
Now, do you see what a liar Biden is? Do you see what a total and complete pathological liar this guy is. Everything from Jim Crow laws. This is Jim Crow on steroids. From that to executive orders are for tyrants, right? He signed more executive orders than anybody, just about in history already. It's a power grab back in the Supreme Court. Now look what he wants to do. What a pathological old fool he is. He is probably going to end up being the most hated man in America if he already isn't. Even some people on the left are starting to see through his facade, his lies, and the way he is so divisive with his talk about race, trying to divide us. He is a racist. Joe Biden is the biggest racist since Woodrow Wilson. That's a quote. That's a quote from, who was that quote from? I can't remember. Not Dan Bongino. It was somebody who is very well respected. Oh, Mark Levin. Mark Levin. Joe Biden is the biggest racist, the biggest white supremacist since Woodrow Wilson. That's some pretty harsh words, and it's absolutely true. Jim Crow on steroids. Pound sand, Joe. That was Tom Bevan of Real Clear Politics making those points, by the way. Fox's Eric Shawn pointed out that FDR wanted to pack SCOTUS with 15 justices, and Bevan responded to that.
Right, and it was his own party that shut him down. And I suspect, again, you look at the composition of the Senate, because the Senate would have to weigh in on this. Joe Manchin, Kirsten Sinema from Arizona. There is not an appetite to do this. This is a terrible, in terms of public polling. Progressive Democrats support it, but moderates don't. Independents don't, and certainly Republicans don't. So it is a loser politically. It would be a very, very high stakes gamble. And again, I don't think this is something that Joe Biden wants to take on either, in the next 6 months or even before the midterms or re-election. It's a political loser. I understand the Democrats are upset by this, but the answer to this is to win elections, right? Not to break norms, particularly one that's been in place since 1869.
Absolutely. Tom Bevan, Real Clear Politics founder. Cameron says Texas should split up into North Texas, West Texas, East Texas, and South Texas. Boom. 3 more Republican states. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to play like that, why not, right? I think Maine should divide into southeastern Maine and northwestern Maine. That's what I think. How about that? Let's play the new states game. Let's do that. Go right ahead. You go first. We get the second and final move. They're doing it for one reason. You know why they're doing it. You know why they're doing it. Well, some people don't know why they're doing it. Some people are still, it's because they're caring. They're so compassionate. They love the humanity in all of us. Nancy Pelosi loves the humanity. She's said it so many times. And when has she put her money where her mouth is? Never. I care about the children. Yeah, right. Sure, you care about money. You want to make yourself and your husband, who did some illegal trading, it looks like, on these electric vehicles, right? Yeah, that's back in the news again. And your daughter, who gets all kinds of money from your campaign. Who else benefits? America? No. America doesn't benefit from your foolish, idiotic, Botox-driven ideas. Nothing. We get nothing. You get a freezer full of ice cream, Sub-Zero freezers full of ice cream, and we get nothing. We get sloppy seconds, all that melted ice cream. Got to take a break. All right, so stick around. I'm all wound up. I'm wound for sound. We're gonna do. Okay, let's finish up the Supreme Court thing because I've got more on that. I don't want to leave you hanging. So the Constitution has been in place since what? 1787, right? 1787. The Declaration of Independence, 1776. The Constitution, 1787. But you don't see too many on the left who care about keeping that around either. right? They don't care that the Supreme Court has been the same since the 1800s. They don't care. And they don't care that the Constitution has been the law of the land since the 1700s. They don't care. They don't care. All they care about is themselves. This is a very selfish group of people. Have we ever had such a selfish group of people ever in the history of America in our legislature with such tyrannical and corrupt motives? I think not. Now, here's what this bill would do. It would add 4 seats to the High Court, bringing it to 13 from the current of 9. The number of justices on the court, it's fluctuated throughout the course of history. Republicans have 6 seats right now. Democrats have 3 after Ruth Bader Ginsburg died and Amy Coney Barrett took her place. Guess who's leading the bill? Jerry Nadler. Jerry Nadler, the little gnome who said there is no Antifa. It's a myth. He called it a myth. Jerry Nadler, in his suit and tie and his little troll-like sneakers, called it a myth as he walked in back to his office from some vehicle he was being driven around in. The bill is led by House Judiciary Committee Chair Jerry Nadler, Subcommittee Chair Hank Johnson, and Mondaire Jones, who's a freshman. The goal is to add 4 liberal justices to the High Court. Boom. They win. Where are we going to draw the red line? Something we really need to be thinking about. And when they cross it, what are we going to do? Again, something we need to think about. The time to say, we'll just wait and see. Sorry, friends. That is gone. We'll be back.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Box Drop Mattress now has Sleep to Win smart beds. They're American-made and adjustable from head to toe to meet your individual sleeping needs. One night's sleep and you'll realize that Sleep to Win smart beds are more comfortable than ones that cost much more. Box Drop Mattress in Winslow and Newport. Schedule an appointment at boxdropwinslow.com today.
What's important here at Moody's is we have a lot of opportunity for upward mobility.
Moody's definitely helped me through. They sent me to school. I got my degree in business. I had the demeanor and I had the willpower and the want.
Our trade is constantly changing and there's always new challenges that arise.
I definitely feel like an owner. It's very exciting.
When you like what you do, you like your job, you like the people you work with, what else could you ask for?
Bring your skills to Moody's and build a long-term future with us.
It's a new year. Aren't you tired of walking over the same beaten up old flooring? It's time you installed a new floor that offers premium durability by contacting HT Winters about their line of Tarkett Pro Gen tile and wood flooring. Tarkett is designed to stand strong in all seasons against water, dirt, and sunlight. The best way to improve your home this winter is to install Tarkett Pro Gen tile and wood flooring. HT Winters, 43 Bay Street in Winslow, and online at htwintersflooring.com.
Spring is the time of renewal for both you and your home. So brighten your day and your surroundings with great items from Townline Antiques. Do you love classic decor? You'll find furniture, artwork, glassware, signs, and hundreds more pieces around every corner. Their classic colors and styles will have you thinking spring and feeling invigorated every time you see them. Or maybe you enjoy collecting books, comics, coins, sports memorabilia, watches, or classic electronics. Townline Antiques has rare items that you won't find anywhere else. Townline is also showcasing a new display of art glass that's absolutely dazzling. Each piece is one of a kind with its own unique flair of colors and form. You simply have to see them to appreciate their beauty. And for everyone who loves to bring items back to life, they're now carrying high-quality fusion mineral paints that give you beautiful color and a durable, long-lasting finish. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Jim Ryan. Jobless claims plunged last week, but they're still near pre-pandemic highs. Here's ABC's Aaron Katersky.
Layoffs appear to be slowing. 576,000 applications for unemployment benefits filed last week is the lowest number since March 2020. The number of people continuing to collect unemployment dropped below 17 million. Taken together, these are signs of healing in the labor market, but also indications of just how many are still facing the loss of income due to the pandemic.
The White House has hit Russia with a series of new sanctions today in response to a variety of actions, from meddling in U.S. elections and hacking to reports that it offered bounties on U.S. troops in Afghanistan. It includes expelling 10 personnel from Russia's diplomatic mission in Washington. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Afghanistan meeting with Afghan leaders and speaking at the U.S. Embassy in Kabul. The unannounced visit follows President Biden's announcement that he'll withdraw U.S. troops from Afghanistan by September 11th. This is ABC News. We may be a couple of weeks into spring, but a winter storm warning is up for several states. In the Northeast, some areas from New York to Maine could see up to 15 inches. A separate storm is threatening 6 states from Kansas to Wyoming. It could drop 1.5 feet of snow in some places. A white active duty soldier now faces assault charges in South Carolina after a confrontation with a black man.
A U.S. Army soldier is under arrest after video showed him berating and shoving a black man in this South Carolina neighborhood. Authorities now charging 42-year-old Army Sergeant Jonathan Pentland with assault and battery.
You come after me like that? I ain't coming after you.
In the video, the man who was shoved says he lives in that neighborhood.
That's ABC's Andrea Fujii. And today is Jackie Robinson Day in Major League Baseball, commemorating the day that Robinson broke the color barrier. Players will all be wearing his number, 42. Some teams will mark the anniversary tomorrow since not all teams are playing today. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
I love my Charmin Super Mega Golden Rolls. It's TP Gold, yeah. Charmin's got 6 rows in one. Lasts forever on my buns. Only Super Mega when I'm cleaning. Charmin's got my booty believing.
Charmin Super Mega Roll is 6 regular rolls in one. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Come celebrate Lowe's first annual Spring Fest with a Char-Broil Performance 5-burner grill was $249, now $199. And Style Selection 7-piece Pelham Bay dining set was $219, now $199. Create a new dining experience this Spring Fest, a festival of fun and savings for your garden and total home, in-store or online. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. Dining set offer valid through 5/5. Grill offer valid to 4/21 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Patio accessories sold separately. U.S. only.
Welcome back to the pep rally. How are you? Thank you for being here, sharing your day. The red line should have already been crossed when they stole the election. Amen, Larry. Mark, politicians have taken this mask thing away way too far. They need to get their boot off my neck and leave this hillbilly alone. Amen, brother. Bonnie, boy, Geraldo and Dan. Oh boy, yeah. Let's talk about that. We've got a couple of these. Dan Bongino and Geraldo Rivera, by the way, is a Republican. You wouldn't know it though, would you? You wouldn't know it. Boy, this got really brutal real fast. The other night on the Sean Hannity show on Fox, there was quite a dust-up between these two. Former New York City cop and Secret Service agent under Obama, Dan Bongino, and Geraldo Rivera, who has never been a cop. He did open the tomb of Al Capone. Okay, so he's got that. Geraldo opened Capone's tomb, found nothing. Big media event, nothing in there, dust. It's all dusty. Might have found a couple of old coins, I guess. I don't know. I can't remember. Geraldo likes to be the voice of the supposed victims, real or imagined. He likes to virtue signal, and in the process, he stirs up not only racial tension, but Geraldo stirs up hatred for police. Not a good thing to do when you're talking to a cop. Just saying. So Bongino was having none of it. Geraldo was saying that black people fear police because the police are targeting them. Trust me, it's the media that is stirring up the hatred. It's the media. It's people like Geraldo, Chris Cuomo, the deplorable racist Joy Reid, Al Sharpton. They're the people who are ginning up the race wars. And they're doing it purposefully. They have a reason for doing it. It helps their chosen party. They are propaganda. So Geraldo was saying that black people fear police because police are targeting them. Bongino, who is a black guy, he's a black dude, starts out by noting that just because Geraldo once apparently had dinner with a cop doesn't make him an expert. So listen to this.
Okay, couple of things on this. You know, Geraldo's perfectly entitled to an opinion. You know, just because you weren't a police officer doesn't mean you can't comment on policing issues. I always hate when liberals say that about us. But, you know, whatever, going to dinner with a police CO captain doesn't. I'm not a liberal. No, I'm not suggesting you are. I'm just saying that, you know, you don't understand policing.
Don't start minimizing my experience.
Geraldo, can you shut up for 2 seconds?
I'm a half a century.
Listen. Geraldo, I'm
not when
you just be quiet.
You try to undermine the foundation of my experience.
Geraldo,
I'm an expert witness tonight.
Just keep talking.
Let him talk. Then we'll let you guys go back and forth.
I'm tired of this guy. He never shuts up.
Dan,
he's always got something to say.
Go back to your statement. Go.
Now, again, as I was saying, he's entitled to an opinion. He's not entitled to a certain set of facts. You don't know anything about actual policing if you haven't done it. Saying or suggesting, you know, you can relate to the experience of police officers, you can't. I'm not suggesting what happened yesterday wasn't a tragedy. It was, obviously. There's a dead young man who's never going to take another breath of oxygen again in his life. We don't have all the facts on this. We know she said taser. It appears to be a mistake and a fatal one.
Right.
But we have a process for that. And just injecting race into this, Geraldo, which you do on these police issues constantly.
Yep.
When you have none of the data, you have no evidence whatsoever. There's
You're
a racial
making me the issue again. Don't you have an argument to make that doesn't concern me?
I'm not making you the issue. I'm responding to your dopey comments. You have no idea that there's a racial undertone to this at all. And you're saying, oh, black parents have to worry because they're black kids. You have no data to back that up at all.
20-year-old black
You're
kid.
just further inflaming the situation, and the country will burn to the ground because of people like you who say dumb things like that with no evidence to back it up.
How about people like you that don't credit the humanity of half the country? They are running scared. And they're scared of cops. And it doesn't matter that we love cops. Or that blue lives matter. Or that they're the thin line between civilization and anarchy. What
Stop
matters?
pontificating and produce some actual data. You're a reporter, right?
Here's a 20-year-old kid. A 20-year-old kid has an expired registration. He ends up dead. In the same town where George Floyd was asphyxiated by a brutal cop's knee on his neck.
So by those incidents,
don't you see
as a reporter, you've wait, hold on. By those two incidents, you've extrapolated as a reporter data that every black child in America should be afraid of the police, and that's rational to you. That's rational. Explain that reason.
Talk to the mothers. Talk to the mothers of African Americans.
See, you're doing the emotional thing again. You can't produce facts.
Do you think all of this rage, Black Lives Matter, you think that all this happened, defund the police, all this happened because of some fanciful liberal notion? It didn't. It happened because
it would be nice if you could actually produce some data to back any of this up, rather than citing a Marxist group like Black Lives Matter, who calls out for when we want dead cops, when do we want them now?
What fact? What fact
my
are you
facts?
preaching about
I just
now?
read on my show the other day a DOJ study where they actually interviewed victims, and the amount of police activity was proportional to the crime committed. It had nothing to do with the race at all. Those are facts. You should try them sometime, rather than trying to burn the country down with your racial rhetoric due to this tragic accident yesterday. When you have no evidence to back it up.
You
just don't like it. You can never produce any
to
data.
attack me. Your whole routine is to attack me rather than dealing with the fact that black people are more fearful of cops than crooks.
Yeah, because you're wrong. You don't actually have any data to back it up. I'm not attacking you. You're on a national show doing what you do, trying to incite some kind of racial strife in the country.
And what are you trying to
no evidence to back it up. And you don't like it that I call you out.
I'm on Fox News now. I submit to you that the majority of our audience agrees with you. And I don't care, because I have to voice for these people whose voices are obviously not resonating with you. These people are fearful of cops. Why? Because there's a black kid, he's 20 years old, and he has an expired tag, and he's dead now. And he's dead now.
No, I actually was a cop.
He is tone deaf.
And I know cops, and the people I work with, they have no reason to be fearful of. You had dinner with a cop once. It's not the same thing.
We lost 100 cops. Geraldo, we also lost 100 cops already.
How many black people did we lose, Sean? Listen, I love cops. I've said it before.
Excuse me.
I'll say it again.
To police violence, not that many.
The issue,
not that many.
Every single human life from God is important.
Yep.
Let's all agree on the basics here. But when we can't, every time a cop pulls somebody over, they don't know what they're going to face.
They have no idea what they're going to face. Just knowing police, Geraldo, you should be smart enough, objective enough to understand that. They had no idea. Let's give you a little, if you haven't heard, before we get to the next cut, which is even better than this one, if you thought that was good, the next one is shorter and it's better. You're going to want to hear this. But let me give you a little background on this Dante Wright guy. And going to what Sean Hannity said there about them not knowing what they're going to get when they approach the vehicle, those are among the most dangerous stops police make. Those and going to domestics, two of the most dangerous things police respond to. It's unarguable. Now, with anybody, they're always prepared. It could be a little old lady, but they're going to be ready. They are ready. Now they've got a guy with an expired registration, and his name comes back, and first of all, he is on parole. He's violated parole for armed aggravated robbery. Aggravated attempted robbery, meaning robbery with a gun. And he violated it by having another gun after he was told no guns. He did dances on videos with guns. He gets pulled over. The cops are going to be ready. Now, did this cop make a mistake? Did she go too far? Absolutely. She absolutely did. Nobody. If you're arguing that, then you're a mook. This went too far by accident, or a lot of people are saying AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, they're saying police need to be defunded. We need to get rid of the police because this was purposeful. They are claiming that, again, there is no justice with these people. No justice. You don't get the benefit of the doubt if you cross a Democrat. You don't. There is no justice for you. That's why the city manager in Brooklyn Center got fired, because he called for due process. The mayor, the black mayor, didn't like that. He fired him. A city councilor who didn't want to vote to fire him because she liked him, said he was doing a great job. He's doing a great job in the city. I liked the guy. I didn't want to vote, but I was afraid of the mob. Who is winning here? Where is the red line going to be? It's almost gone too far. Get ready to give up your guns, because they're going to be coming for them. I swear to you, they are going to be coming for them. They are pulling out all the stops, and they aren't going to stop at packing the Supreme Court and adding states. They are going to come for guns. Mark my words. The red line has got to be drawn, and it's got to be policed. and it's got to be protected. Just saying. What that looks like, I don't know. I'm throwing it out there because it's a fact if we're going to save this country. Now, the ever pompous one, Geraldo Rivera, was on for another segment with Dan Bongino. I mean, this is great TV. This is great TV. This one got even more out of control. This is a much shorter one. Listen to this.
You tell that to the black families that see their sons being killed.
That's all you
twice
got.
the rate
you
of
got
white
nothing else,
sons.
buddy.
That's
got
a
nothing
fact.
else.
That's a fact.
You've got nothing else. All you want to do is see the country burn. You just want to see the country burn. That's it.
I want to see the country burn. You son of a bitch. I want to see the country burn. You punk. You're nothing but a punk.
Yeah.
You're a punk, Bongino. You're a punk.
You wouldn't tell me that to my face.
We'll leave it there.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. Hannity, we'll leave it there. Wow. When you get nothing, you start swearing at people. Whew. You wouldn't tell me that to my face, Bongino says. I wouldn't. Victory goes to Dan Bongino. As for ever pompous Republican attorney Geraldo Rivera gets owned again by keeping his cool and stating the facts. Got to take a break. Back with more. I'm John James. This is Freedom's Pep Rally. Thank you for being here.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Sales and service by a family who cares. Whittemore and Sons, Whittemore and Sons.
There are some things you can simply never depend on, like a perfectly cooked meal from the microwave. Will it be hot or will it be cold? There's only one way to find out. But know that you can always count on Whittemore & Sons in our line of Coyote tractors. Coyote tractors are machines made to work, whether it's mowing, tilling, digging, lifting, or hauling. Check out the full line of tough and versatile Coyote tractors, attachments, implements, and accessories at Whittemore & Sons, your Coyote tractor dealer, with dependable sales in service for over 50 years. Run ahead of the pack with a Coyote tractor from Whittemore & Sons on the Waterville Road in Skowhegan. Sales and service by a family who cares.
From work to fun, we'll help you get it done. Whittemore & Sons, outdoor power equipment.
What's important here at Moody's is we have a lot of opportunity for upward mobility.
Moody's definitely helped me through. They sent me to school. I got my degree in business. I had the demeanor and I had the willpower and the want.
Our trade is constantly changing and there's always new challenges that arise.
I definitely feel like an owner. It's very exciting.
When you like what you do, you like your job, you like the people you work with, what else could you ask for?
Bring your skills to Moody's and build a long-term future with us.
Spring is the time of renewal for both you and your home. So brighten your day and your surroundings with great items from Town Line Antiques. Do you love classic decor? You'll find furniture, artwork, glassware, signs, and hundreds more pieces around every corner. Their classic colors and styles will have you thinking spring and feeling invigorated every time you see them. Or maybe you enjoy collecting books, comics, coins, sports memorabilia, watches, or classic electronics. Town Line Antiques has rare items that you won't find anywhere else. Townline is also showcasing a new display of art glass that's absolutely dazzling. Each piece is one of a kind with its own unique flair of colors and form. You simply have to see them to appreciate their beauty. And for everyone who loves to bring items back to life, they're now carrying high-quality fusion mineral paints that give you beautiful color and a durable, long-lasting finish. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor, starting out with lots of clouds this morning and a slight chance for a light shower early. We'll gradually see increasing sun through this afternoon, brightest away from the coast. It will be cooler today with highs just in the low 60s. Sunny low 60s for Saturday and Sunday. Will stay mostly sunny but cooler with highs in the low to mid 60s through the start of next week.
And welcome back. John James here, Freedom's Pep Rally. Final hour. Let's do it. We're actually into the final hour. This just breaking here. This morning, Republicans are predicting about this Supreme Court packing idea that it's going to backfire on Democrats and help Republicans in the midterms. So they predict the composition will remain as it is, as it should, and that their attempts at a tyrannical takeover of the government, what somebody called it this is a great analogy. It's a hostile takeover of the United States government. Think about that. It is. The Democrats are conducting a hostile takeover of the United States government, just as Maine Democrats are undertaking a hostile takeover of Maine's government, led by one czar, Tyrant Mills. There is so much danger. Having Democrats elected used to be okay. So we're going to have Democrats in the majority for 2 years or 4 years or whatever. Or now we're going to have Republican. But now you don't. It's not like it's going to be It's like, okay, now we've got to protect our turf because they're coming for it. They are coming for total control. It's no longer, we'll do a little give, a little take, we'll agree, disagree, agree to disagree, like they do on Mike Violet's show with Ethan Strimling and Phil Harriman. But no, there's no more agreeing to disagree. It's our way or the highway now, and this is playing out right here in Maine. It's sad. It's telling. So let's look at police getting tossed under the bus again. On Monday's 11th hour on MSDNC, a guy named Jason Johnson went into an anti-police rant. He called law enforcement in the U.S. to be abolished. He called for it to be abolished and rebuilt. He insisted Democrats should run on this as a campaign issue because they wouldn't face blowback from voters, and illustrated an aversion to mathematics when he claimed that he is likely to be killed by a police officer he's as likely to be killed by a police officer as an intruder in his home. Where is he getting this math? They say things, they're throwing red meat. That's all they're doing. That's all they're doing. They make things up. He has no proof. A 2-year-old. A 2-year-old or at least a 6-year-old could tell you that math is flawed. So you got somebody breaking into your home at 2:00 in the morning and you're getting pulled over by a cop. Well, even odds. Cops as apt to kill you as the intruder in your house at 2 a.m. Shut up. Shut up, you idiot. You're an idiot. Jason Johnson, you're a moron. You're a mook. You're an imbecile. I can't think of enough words to describe the idiocy in that statement. It's just throwing red meat to the ever-hungry base. Sound like the Tasmanian devil out there lapping it up. Throw me some more red meat. Tell me what I should say on Twitter and Facebook, and I'll go say it. And I will block anybody who tries to confront me about it. There are your progressives. That's your progressives. Are you a progressive? Is that what you do? Better rethink it because you look pretty foolish. You look foolish. You think you're winning the argument as you walk away and block people, but you ain't. You ain't winning nothing, buddy. You're just losing a lot of clout because you are looking like the sheepish fool you are. Is it okay to say that? Does that hurt your feelings? Does it hurt your feelings? I'm so sorry. Johnny's sorry. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So this Jason Johnson guy, during a discussion of what appears to have been an accidental deadly police shooting in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, of Dante White, 20-year-old kid. And he wasn't armed. There was no sign he had arms, but he resisted. I mean, just as a point, this, I am not justifying what happened. You cannot justify what happened to him, except to say it was an accident. You can't justify it. It shouldn't have happened. However, there is a common component between this shooting and the killing of George Floyd, and we still don't know if Derek Chauvin was the killer or he contributed to it, one or the other, most likely. But in both of these cases, the situation was exacerbated by the perp resisting arrest. It doesn't justify what happened in either case. But compliance would have avoided both deaths. There's no argument about that. There's no question about that. This woman would not have accidentally pulled her gun if Dante Wright had not pulled away and rushed to get into his car. Would not have happened. George Floyd would not obey any commands the Minneapolis police, including Derek Chauvin, gave him. He had plenty of chances. Put your hands on the wheel. Wouldn't do it. Stay in the police car. Wouldn't do it. Continuously resisting arrest. Non-compliance. Was some of it drug-induced? Well, maybe. Drugs aren't good. Drugs cause bad decisions. We know that. The guy in Kenosha, Wisconsin, whose name I forget. Cop found innocent. Good. Again, resisting arrest. In almost every case, the police, I don't care what color the perp is. Why would the police, think about this. Why would any police officer not shoot a white man, but in the same scenario, shoot a black man? If they didn't feel their life was in danger, or if they did feel their life was in danger, if they felt they were in danger of imminent threat and had milliseconds to react, and that's what it is. Milliseconds. They would react with lethal force. And I don't care what color the perp is, what ethnicity the perp is, what gender they are. I don't care. Same thing if there is no threat. Now, it's arguable whether or not there was a threat in this case. Police officers also have the duty to protect others. Understand that. So she was fully justified in pulling a taser to stop him from using his car, which would then be a deadly weapon. Because he wasn't getting into it to take a leisurely drive down the road. I think we can be pretty sure of that. So she had every right to fire a taser at him and stop him there so he could be arrested because he resisted arrest. Now, the $10,000 question is, what caused her to pull a lethal weapon when she's got 26 years of experience on a police force and has supposedly undergone training which built into her muscle memory where the certain items are? It's a pretty easy, in my book, and I've never been in a life-threatening situation like she felt somebody was in, whether it was her or the public at large. I've never been in that situation, but I think even without all the training police go through, I would know that if I wanted to use my gun, I reach down on my dominant side, which is my right side, and I know where it is. I wouldn't automatically go for my left side to get a weapon that wasn't lethal if I needed lethal force. At the same time, if I didn't need lethal force, I certainly wouldn't reach down and grab my sidearm, my gun, and use it thinking it was a taser. There are a lot of questions here, granted, a lot of questions. But resisting arrest seems to be a pretty common denominator in a lot of these things. So this guy, Jason Johnson, though, he judge and jury, another one of these guys, just like the mayor of Brooklyn Center, judge and jury, due process not welcome here. So here's the audio. This starts out with Lion Brian Williams, who it just sickens me that Lion Brian Williams, the valor-stealing, hypocritical so-called journalist, is even still on the air. I can't stomach him. I don't believe a word he says anymore. But here is a Lion Brian Williams and Jason Johnson who just cannot understand that policing doesn't need to be destroyed in this country. In fact, he thinks quite the opposite. He believes it does need to be destroyed or at least reimagined.
Now, I'm sure you've noticed when media outlets...
Okay, no, that's not it. We want cut. Try O. You have O over there? O'Reilly. Yeah, it's from yesterday. There you go. Okay, here it is. This is Lion Brian Williams on MSDNC and Jason Johnson.
You know that in the real world, the phrase defund the police had colossal consequences across the country for the Democratic Party, especially depending on the race. Just as the phrase abolish the police
politics
will.
Into it.
You know the counter argument.
Brian, I
that
can't
God
tolerate
forbid
this guy.
You hear a bump in the night in your home or apartment, you call 911. You don't want a social worker showing up tonight. I am guessing you'd rather have an armed police officer if you have trouble in your house.
I'm just as likely to get shot by that cop as I am what the potential intruder is.
Wow.
That's just the reality. That's the reality that I live with every day. And I'll also say this. From a political science perspective, no, it actually, if you look at the one seat that Democrats actually picked up in the state of Georgia, the congressional seat, the woman, the doctor whose name escapes me right now, she was actually out there protesting with Black Lives Matter. This is a white woman. She got elected in Georgia. I know that many people tried to argue. I know that Congressman Clyburn tried to say that defund the police and abolish the police hurt Democrats. There's no statistical information right now, polling information that shows that actually kept anybody from winning their seats. Here's the larger issue. Policing, the way it has functioned in this country, no longer works. If there was a public school where every couple of months you had a kid die in the cafeteria, you would shut down that school. You would fire every teacher. You would rebuild the entire school and say, hey, this isn't working. Kids shouldn't be dying in the cafeteria on a regular basis. If you had an emergency room where doctors and patients were dying on a regular basis for routine checkups, you would say, hey, there is something wrong with this hospital. We got to fire everybody there and start from the beginning. For some reason in America, when we see consistent failures on the part of police departments, suddenly everybody says that can't be abolished. We have everybody from the far right to the far left saying we can get rid of everything from the Environmental Protection Agency to the National Education Board. Why can't we do the same thing with police?
Wow. I'm just as likely to get shot by the police officer responding as the guy breaking into my house. You can't make this stuff up. And Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Let me tell you about Black Lives Matter. We've been telling you about this. Let's hear it from people who know about Black Lives Matter here. One thing you see a lot of at these Minnesota protests, if you watched any of the video, Black Lives Matter signs. Many of the protesters feel BLM is a righteous organization working for change. Well, let me tell you something. They aren't working for change, or they are. They are working for change, but it's not the change you think it is. Daily Wire host Candace Owens. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, you can say she's not black because she's not woke. But fact is, she is a great black American woman, and she has a powerful voice, and she's as tired of it as everybody is. She denies systemic racism. She denies white privilege. She excoriates Black Lives Matter, and with good reason, too. She was on with Tucker Carlson the other night, blasting Patrisse Colors, who is one of the group's founders, BLM's founders. Colors, who is an avowed Marxist. She is a communist. She said so. She said so with her own voice. I know the progressives won't. Well, she might have said it, but they tell me she didn't mean it. So I go with them. I don't think she knows what she's talking. She says she's a communist. I don't think she knows what she's talking about. Believe what they tell you to, not what you hear with your own ears, see with your eyes. That's how ignorant the left is, many times. Not all, many. So this Marxist and the rich corporations in our country who are supporting her are the problem, or a huge part of it. And she is making no secret of the fact that she is getting rich off Black Lives Matter. And you know what she's doing with all the money she is making off the generous donations of BLM supporters? Do you know what she's doing? And she's not lying about it. She's not hiding it. She's proud of it. She is moving into oppressive white neighborhoods, the very people she is protesting against, she is moving in with. Well, it sounds hypocritical. Well, yeah, but that's how they roll. So how does it work? According to a report from the New York Post, Colors is reportedly on a real estate buying binge, purchasing 4 homes. She has bought this BLM leader, this one who's doing it for all the right reasons, accepting your charitable, tax-deductible donations. She has bought 4 homes worth upwards of $3 million. BLM man membership has its privileges, except for you poor people out there on the street carrying the signs and protesting and getting things thrown at you because you think it's a good organization. Don't worry, your leader is not hurting. Now she's getting rich off your donations and moving into these oppressive neighborhoods. One of her homes was purchased at $1.4 million, and it is located in a secluded area of Los Angeles where the population is less than 2% black. Well, why isn't she trying to help oppressed neighborhoods? Why isn't this founder of BLM trying to help oppressed neighborhoods? Why is she going out and buying 4 homes? She's also eyeing a spot on an ultra-exclusive resort in the Bahamas, where Justin Timberlake and Tiger Woods both have homes. Black Lives Matter leader, thank you for your donations. You're helping the cause. Yeah, baby. Thank you for your donate. Please give. I bet she'll be out on the street corners with a hat collecting more money for the cause that she is working for. Another home for Patrisse Colors. Probably, huh? Am I right about that? I bet I am. So because she's so openly corrupt and unapologetic about it, does she have Candace Owens' respect? Here's what Candace Owens had to say.
She has my respect because she's unapologetic in her approach. She's telling you what she is. She's a Marxist. So Marxists steal money from other people and they enrich themselves until the people that they stole from are poor. And so she has stolen money from other people on the pretext of a lie that is Black Lives Matter. And she's enriched herself and she's brought 4 homes. I mean, you have to kind of appreciate the honesty. She's not hiding by any means, you know. And so, yeah, I tend to agree with you here. She's a communist through and through, and she's been unbelievably unapologetic in her approach.
Yeah, and the interesting thing Tucker said is the corporations are standing right up behind her.
You're right. The corporations are standing behind her, which is incredibly interesting. And you pointed to something really important. You know, these corporations that are pouring millions and millions of dollars into Black Lives Matter. And you're correct. They said we raised more than $90 million. How much more, we will never know. But $90 million, of which $21 million apparently went to, according to Black Lives Matter themselves, it went to building the Black movement. Like, I don't even know what that means. $25 million going to building a Black movement. Apparently, the Black movement was Patrice moving herself, a Black woman moving herself into other areas of the communities of people that she claims are oppressing Black Americans. She's fearful of white people. White people are so bad. Well, why doesn't she want to live amongst Black people? Why is she choosing to move herself into an all-white neighborhood? These are important questions.
They are important questions. By the way, this is a Black woman. This is Candace Owens talking here. She's Black. She's a Black woman. She's not racist like Patrice Cullors is, clearly. If she cared so much about oppressed communities, why doesn't she buy a couple of houses for people in here? I feel I can't help everybody, but I want to help 2 or 3 people with all of my riches. So I'm going to help you get into a nice neighborhood and a good school system. I'm going to help. No, it's all for me. Here, thank you for your donation. Thank you. Here, I'll put it in the bank and I'll let it collect interest until I can get to the Bahamas to buy an exclusive mansion in the same neighborhood as Justin Timberlake and Tiger Woods. There you go. There's your Black Lives Matter. There is the organization right there. Tucker asserted during the interview that it sounded like things are definitely problematic with the police department. They're in a Brooklyn Center. Lack of training or something. And then he asked a good question. Why the looting after a shooting like this? Why all of a sudden it's racist? It's racist. We need justice. Oh, so let's steal stuff. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's steal some stuff. That'll be justice right there. We'll get some new iPhones, a whole pile of liquor. It'll be great. It'll be great. Thank God for racism. Thank God for the racist white cops. Now we can go get us some liquor for nothing. iPhones for nothing. Target merchandise won't cost us a cent. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Why the looting after a shooting like this? Tucker asked Candace Owens, why do we put up with that? Here's what she said.
We shouldn't put up with that, but the reason why we do is because the Democrats see some advantage in this, right? So right now you have a bunch of criminals that love Black Lives Matter as an organization. They love when a Black person dies, and we don't know what the reasons are. We don't know what happened, but it signals to them that they are now allowed to run into the streets and grab whatever they want, whether it's from Target, whether it's from Walmart. And what's remarkable also is that these corporations are standing behind Black Lives Matter, right? They're pouring money into these corporations. And I remember most notably during the George Floyd riots, Target even came out and said, we don't even care that we were rioted and looted because we just stand with Black Lives Matter. That's not a normal thing for a corporation to do when it's losing money. Right. So that means that a corporation must be getting something else.
What's going on here?
What is it? What are they investing in when they invest in the lie that is Black Lives Matter? What is the return? I think Josh Hawley alluded to it in the previous segment. And I think you're onto something when you say that the corporations seek to control this country. They're willing to give up money. They're willing to let their stores be rioted and looted because they see something bigger that they're gaining from these riots and these lootings and these lies. And that is control over this country. It's power and it's sinister and it's sick.
There you go. Candace Owens right there. She said it. What do we tell you every single day? Power, control, sick. And what did she say? This is a Black woman saying this. This is a Black woman saying this about Black people and white virtue signaling white privilege. The real white privileged people are the ones calling you racist, by the way. They are the white people calling you racists. The pasty white virtue signaling, you check your privilege at the door. Shut up. You're a mook. You're ignorant. Shut up. You're laughable. I won't laugh in your face because I don't want to make you feel bad. She said it. They are happy. They are happy. They are saddened, not that they are meh, they are happy when a black person dies at the hands of a cop because they can now loot free stuff. And this is socialism. This is what they love. They love to get socialist handouts without having to go into all the job of breaking windows and actually walking through a store and getting stuff, and there's nobody to put it in bags for us. That's too much work. It'd be a whole lot easier if we could just have it brought to our house. Maybe someday, maybe they'll bring it via truck or drone and drop it at my door. They are happy when black people get killed because then, and I'm not saying everybody, but you look at how many looters, look at how many angry terrorists there are in the street. Hurling bottles, throwing bricks, breaking windows, stealing shelves are clean. I can't imagine some of the stuff in these places. I mean, the shelves are literally bare. They've taken everything. Now, every store I go into, I always see stuff. Who would want that? But apparently somebody wants everything because they take it all. They take everything they can. Sickness. It's a sickness. And Candace Owens, again, like it or not, leftist, she's black because science. So according to a related story from the Post-Millennial, listen to this. Now we know this Patrice, what's her name? Patrice Cullors. We know she is a communist. After criticizing Cullors' new $1 million house and its location last week, Jason Whitlock, a black guy, a black dude, Jason Whitlock he had his Twitter account locked because of policy violations. After he criticized the communist, opportunist, Patrice Cullors. She's still there. The communist is still there. He got blocked. The tweet in question, posted April 9th, linked to an article in Dirt, which is a luxury real estate website focusing on celebrities who first reported on the purchase of this home by Cullors. Whitlock called out Cullors over her new $1.4 million home in Topanga Canyon, Los Angeles, where 88% of the residents are white, while only 1.8% is black, according to the census. Here's the tweet. She had a lot of options on where to live. She chose one of the whitest places in California. She'll have her pick of white cops and white people to complain about. That's a choice, bro, Whitlock said in response to a critic of his tweet. Now, the reason his Twitter got blocked was for allegedly revealing personal information about Cullors. What? He said, Twitter locked my account around 4 p.m. Friday. They said my account was locked because I revealed personal information about someone. They said I needed to remove the tweet that linked the dirt.com story about Cullors to buying a house in Topanga. Why? She's telling everybody. She's telling everybody about that. She's so proud of her wealth that she has accumulated by working hard through, will you give me some money? Will you give me some money for social justice? Will you give me some money for social justice? Will you give me some money for social? That's hard work. So she's proud. She's buying up homes here. And the very people, many of the people she is getting donations from are the oppressed she claims to be fighting on behalf of. I don't laugh because it's funny. I laugh because it's so pathetic and how blind people are, How very blind people are. And you know what? They're going to still keep giving because they're never going to hear this story. You know why? Of course you do. Because the leftist news media is not, they love Patrice. They love her. Joy Reid loves her. Has had her on. Oh, Patrice, love you. You're doing such great work, says the millionaire loudmouth racist on MSNBC. They're never going to report on this. So the left will keep giving and giving and giving like the ignorant fools they are, the ignorant sheep they have become. Keep going left. Cliff is getting closer, much closer. Legacy time, 11:49 right now. Legacy 1160 WSKW. John James here with a Freedom's Pep Rally powered by the Gun Shop on Coney Circle in Augusta. They are open today. They are open tomorrow. They're open Tuesday through Saturday. Stop in and say hi to them and check out their great inventory. They've even got some ammo. I don't know how much. We talked with a Crystal a week ago. We had her on the air, and they're doing okay with guns, plenty of guns, and they always have ammo. If you purchase a gun, they will have a box of ammo to feed it. So, if you're buying a self-protection gun, don't worry. They will be able to feed it, and you will have protection. And if you have any questions, they will be able to tell you what to do, how to be safe, where to keep it, how to store it, what not to do with it. They'll give you the 4 rules of gun safety, or 3. NRA has 3. Everybody else has 4. It doesn't matter. They're all good safety rules. Learn them and abide by them and see the gun shop today. They will help. And the store is absolutely gorgeous. So the racism lie. Media and academia are pushing a false narrative of America as a systemically racist nation. And there is no data to support it. It's made up facts. At a time when, this is Eric Kaufman, and this is from the Manhattan Institute. At a time when measures of racist attitudes and behavior have never been more positive, that's what I said. I said more positive. Pessimism about racism and race relations has increased in America. Why is that? Could it be? Now, this is hard data, by the way. This is hard data. Unlike the left, unlike Joy Reid and Al Sharpton will throw at you, they'll make up stuff and they'll say it. Oh, I'm just going to make up some facts and I'm going to chuck it out there to them and they'll believe it. They're good lemmings. They're good sheep. I do a lousy sheep. I got to work on that over the weekend. So, hard facts. Racism is not a huge issue in America. Guess who's making it an issue? Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Chris Reid, Joy Reid, Chris Cuomo. You know, it's the useful idiots, the Democrat representatives in your media, propaganda, I should say, not media. It's not media. It's not fair, objective media. It's propaganda. So this Kaufman from the Manhattan Institute is an adjunct fellow at the Manhattan Institute, professor of politics at Birkbeck College, University of London in England. And his scholarship focuses on cultural politics and religious and national identity. Now, in the paper's forward, Coleman Hughes, a fellow at Manhattan Institute for Policy Research, who is an African-American and Puerto Rican descendant, acknowledges that bigotry in America certainly exists. There's no denying that. We've never denied there is bigotry, there is racism. Never denied it. There is on both sides, by the way. Both sides. It's a human thing, part of the human condition. We're never going to get rid of it. Never, ever, 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 never. If you believe we can, then you're hopeless. You're absolutely hopeless. So the public perception of bigotry has surpassed the reality. This is this Coleman Hughes, Puerto Rican descent, African American, the public perception of bigotry has surpassed the reality. In other words, the real and imagined, the imagined has so far passed what is really happening out there to such an extent, it has become a moral panic. White supremacy is said to be rampant by people in Congress. You know who they are, by the president, by the racist president and vice president of the United States of America. They are evil. They are dangerous. They are ruining us. They are way too powerful to be in the positions they are in. Too much. This is so dangerous. They are pushing racism as far as it can be pushed when it doesn't exist to the extent they want everybody to believe, and they are making their sheep believe it. They aren't going to wake up. Some of them. Don't even bother trying. Don't have a conversation with them because they aren't going to listen. They're just going to block you, and they're going to walk away and say, I won. Yeah, right. You couldn't you couldn't punch your way out of a bag. So, Kaufman contends from the Manhattan Institute, the public's mistaken perception of how much racism exists is driven in large part by ideas. Concepts such as concepts such as critical race theory, where the teachers, the instructors, make you see racism. They don't want you to be colorblind. They are teaching you to see race. We heard a teacher, high school teacher, forcing a black kid to see race where he saw none. Saw none. What? I think you're just being coy with me, the teacher said. Two women, a black and white woman, standing next to each other, back to back, just looking, just hanging. That's what they were doing. That's what the kid said. They're just hanging. They're just chilling. And the teacher said, oh, I think you see more than that, the virtue signaling white teacher. That's critical race theory, and that's dangerous. Concepts such as critical race theory and intersectionality once were confined to graduate seminars. Now they have seeped into corporate America and Silicon Valley, and in the past year in particular, since the George Floyd protests, they have become a feature of K through 12 education. So what is critical race theory? Well, he says, a good example came from that captured online high school class in Georgia, where a teacher put a picture of two women standing back to back on a screen, looking relaxed, one black and one white. The white teacher asked the black student what he sees. When he doesn't see color, the virtue signaling white teacher forced him to see color, making the teacher, in my opinion, racist. And I would play it. We don't have time to play it. If you haven't heard it, I promise you, if you request it, I will play it sometime next week. We are out of time. I love this. I could do this for another hour, but I can't. I know we're out of time. So we will we'll have news, and we'll get to music coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Stick around. Thank you for your time. Thank you for enjoying the pep rally. I hope you did, and I hope you share. Have a great weekend. I'm John James.
WSKW, Legacy 1160.
What's important here at Moody's is we have a lot of opportunity for upward mobility.
Moody's definitely helped me through. They sent me to school. I got my degree in business. I had the demeanor and I had the willpower and the want.
Our trade is constantly changing, and there's always new challenges that arise.
I definitely feel like an owner. It's very exciting.
When you like what you do, you like your job, you like the people you work with, what else could you ask for?
Bring your skills to Moody's and build a long-term future with us.
Have you been looking at those undone projects around the house this summer? Hi, this is Ken from McKenzie Landscaping, your landscape supply center. Stop by McKenzie Landscaping and let one of our experienced staff guide you through your next outdoor project. Whether you're thinking about a walkway, patio, or retaining wall, we have a great selection of products to choose from. We carry Teco Block, Gagny & Son, Swenson Granite, Champlain Stone, along with other hardscape products. Have you lost a pet and been wanting to get a memorial made or an address engraved in a stone? Stop by and have Renee work with you to design your project. So whether you're near or far, a homeowner or a contractor, no delivery is too big or small. With our different size trucks, we'll dispatch the right truck size for your order. And if you're looking to have pallets delivered, we have a truck that brings your pallets with a forklift to place your pallets next to your job site. Shop smart, shop local, and shop at Mackenzie Landscaping. Visit us on the web at mackenzielandscaping.com.
I know you've heard the old adage, buy low and then sell high. Well, with real estate prices rising in the market every day, if you've been thinking of selling your home, now is the time to list your property with Pouliot Real Estate to capitalize on it. While the market may be growing, Matt and the team at Pouliot Real Estate are never too busy to help. In fact, before you go and pay for an appraisal to find the value of your home, Pouliot Real Estate will happily give you an estimate for free. Yeah, I said free. Low interest rates have created an active buying market, which is great for sellers. And there are lots of people selling their homes for a number of reasons. They're empty nesters looking to cash in on the equity that they've built, folks looking to downsize their home to increase their cash, and growing families that simply need something bigger. There's absolutely no obligation, so why not strike while the iron is hot? Contact Pouliot Real Estate for a free home valuation at PouliotRealEstate.com. That's PouliotRealEstate.com. And when you see Matt Pouliot, you tell him Mike Violet sent you.
Hey folks, who's thinking about spring? Hi, this is Bernie from Trailside Performance. If you're taking on those tough chores around your property, come check out the #1 selling farm tractor in the world, Mahindra. Not only are Mahindra tractors tough, but they come with a 7-year warranty to back it up. With Mahindra, there's no regeneration, no diesel particulate filter, and no hassle. I personally invite you to our Winslow or Newport location to learn more about Mahindra and their awesome discounts and finance programs. At Trailside Performance, we service what we sell, and we sell Mahindra.
And that's just going to finish it up here. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your being with me. Mike Violet back here on Monday morning at 6 o'clock. I'll be back here at 9 on Monday morning. I will see you then. Enjoy the music at Legacy 1160 WSKW or listen live at Legacy1160.com. Have a fantastic weekend.
Yes.